Back in your life on this Monday, December 3rd, 2018. Hi again, everyone. I'm Ariel Helwani. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope you had a lovely weekend. It's been a bit of a hectic day here this morning, but it's good to get the show started. And I hope all is well wherever you are joining us. What a weekend in the world of combat sports. A dizzying weekend, a jam-packed weekend. So much going on. Quite frankly, I still haven't caught my breath. Friday, Saturday. In fact, history was made this weekend, my friends. History was made. First time ever that both UFC and Bellator have held events on the same weekend in back-to-back nights. Basically, Friday, Saturday, UFC held events. Friday, Saturday, Bellator held events as well. UFC had the tough finale on Friday night. They had the show in Adelaide on Saturday, technically Sunday morning. Bellator had the show in Thackerville, exotic Thackerville. Music's playing again. We love the song so much that we're gonna play it twice. Bellator had the event in Thackerville and then the event in Italy. Also, there was KSW with a great show. I enjoyed it very much on Saturday afternoon here in the United States, and of course, Wilder Fury, which everyone is still talking about, Saturday night at Staples Center. That plus a whole lot more. It was just nonstop, back to back to back to back. Again, I still feel like I'm catching my breath. I think the biggest story of the weekend, obviously, was Wilder Fury. Ended in a draw, the dramatic 12th round knockdown. Fury comes up like the Undertaker. He's able to survive that. And in a lot of people's eyes, he won the fight. I really don't have a problem with the draw. The scorecard's a little funky. I don't think that he lost 4 rounds or whatever that 115 to 111 scorecard was. But I don't have an actual problem with it ending up in a draw. I think the rematch will be gigantic. It should probably be in England. There's a lot of big business to be made. And for all those people who said boxing is dead, I mean, don't you sound stupid? All those people who said the heavyweight division is dead, don't you sound stupid? The one thing, you wake up after a great night on Saturday, both for the UFC and for boxing, and then you wake up on Sunday and you find out about Adonis Stevenson, one of the greatest Canadian boxers of all time, a guy who has not lost a fight in 8 years, that he is in a medically induced coma. His condition is stable. He lost on Saturday in Quebec City, but that just obviously bums you out to no end and is a reminder of what these men and women go through. And I hope for all those people who go on Twitter and Instagram and talk smack to fighters after a loss, make them feel worse. I hope you look at this Adonis Stevenson situation and you realize what they go through and the risk that they put themselves in and the harm that they are signing up for, the damage that they go through throughout an entire career. It's a crazy profession. It really is. And I've said at times I feel uncomfortable with us promoting the violent nature of combat sports. Adonis Stevenson is not some bum. He's not a journeyman. He's a guy who, like I said, had not lost in 8 years, a longtime champion, and now he is in a medically induced coma. Doesn't matter if it's boxing. It could happen in any combat sport. And so kind of curbs our enthusiasm a little bit. It's just a stark reminder of how vicious these sports are and how we should appreciate the athletes, especially those in their prime, who are able to go in their fight, win or lose, and then walk out relatively unscathed, at least as far as the naked eye is concerned. But again, a lot to like this weekend, a lot going on. It was a fun time watching all those events, especially Saturday. Holy smokes. Hunt and Willis going back and forth, and then, of course, the heavyweight title fight going on at the same time. Bellator and the Bellator prelims on Friday were phenomenal. Probably their best. They had to get a lot of guys fights, so they put them on the prelims just because the year is about to come to an end for Bellator. I mean, there was just so much going on. One of those weekends that I think is fun in a vacuum. I don't know if it's fun every weekend to have that much going on, but this past weekend was certainly a fun one. Okay, we have a lot to discuss on today's program. Of course, we are on the road to UFC 231, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, which is almost sold out. The Scotiabank Centre, almost sold out. Always a great venue. They have hosted some of the best cards of all time in Toronto. As far as UFC is concerned, 129, 140, 152, 206 recently. The one that was supposed to be DC versus Johnson ended up being Max Holloway versus Anthony Pettis, which essentially started Holloway's love affair with the great city of Toronto. So anytime the UFC goes to Toronto, it's a big deal. Of course, I'd love if they can go back to Montreal. But this is the next best thing because the crowds in Toronto are always phenomenal. And by all accounts, tickets are doing very well. And this is a very good card. Holloway, Ortega, main event. Joanna Jędrzejczyk, Valentina Shevchenko, co-main event. 2 title fights. The rest of the card is great. The return of Gunnar Nelson, Claudia Gadelha. I mean, there's a lot to like on this card. So I'm looking forward to going there on Thursday, talk about that, and a whole lot more on today's program. Okay, here's the lineup. 4:10, we're going to be joined by Austin Vanderford, a.k.a. Mr. Van Zant. I do believe he has some news to share with all of us. I'm looking forward to that. 3:55, we're going to be joined by Mark Hunt. He fought against Justin Willis on Saturday and lost that fight. 3rd fight that he's lost in a row, and now he is done with the UFC. His contract is up. We're going to talk to him about what's next, where he goes from here, will he keep fighting, all that and more. 3:25 will be joined in studio by Chris Weidman. First interview since his loss to Jacare Souza at MSG last month, November 3rd. So I'm looking forward to catching up with Chris. Mauro Ranallo will join us. Always love talking to the bipolar rock and roller at 3:05. We'll talk to him about calling the action on Saturday. He was there, calling the action for Showtime, Wilder Fury. Phenomenal call in the 12th round. I'm looking forward to talking to Mauro again. Jake Hager, a.k.a. Jack Swagger, will be on at 2:45. He has some news to share as well. Looking forward to talking to him. Of course, the former WWE champion who was on my show last year to announce that he was coming to MMA, that he had signed with Bellator. We look forward to talking to him and seeing what's up. It's been a year, so what's training like and all that. Gunnar Nelson is back on Saturday against Charles Cowboy Oliveira. Alex Oliveira. No, Charles Cowboy Oliveira, yes. Is it Alex or is it Charles? I'm screwing up here. Which one is it? It's Alex. Yes, it's Cowboy. Did I say Charles at first? Yes, it's Alex Oliveira, Cowboy Oliveira on Saturday. And if you saw that picture of Gunnar, wow, what a picture. His body has changed drastically. I'm looking forward to that. Max Holloway and Brian Ortega will be on. Ortega at 1:45, Max Holloway at 2:05, and Chatri Sityodtong, the CEO, chairman, and founder of One Championship. They just signed Sage Northcutt and Yoshihiro Sexyama Akiyama, and of course Eddie Alvarez, DJ. A lot going on with One. I'm looking forward to talking to him for the very first time. However, let us start with our first guest of the day, a man who, in my opinion, had one of the best performances of this very busy weekend, one of the most dominant performances of this very busy weekend, a man who has climbed the ranks, who is now 9-0 in the UFC. I believe only 6 other fighters have started their UFC careers 9-0. All of them have become champions, 13 wins in a row. He defeated Rafael dos Anjos on Saturday in Las Vegas in the main event of the tough finale. Let's talk to the Nigerian nightmare himself, Kamaru Usman, who joins us right now via the magic of Skype. Kamaru, how are you?
I'm good, Ariel. Wow, what an introduction.
Did that get your blood boiling? Did it get the hair on your arm standing up?
It got me going, man. It's like, damn, man, I must be doing something right.
Finally, you're getting the respect and love that you deserve. I feel after this performance, Kamaru, that you are finally getting the respect and love that you deserve, in particular from one man. Did you hear his post-fight comments? Wow, how quickly things change. UFC President Dana White is on that bandwagon, finally. It took long enough.
Yeah, I mean, I've said before, I think it's a little misplaced. When you start your career in a certain light, I mean, I've only been doing this for five and a half years now. And so I didn't come in knowing certain arts or certain things or even knowing really the business aspect of it. I came in as a straight wrestler and a competitor, and I wanted to win. And so when you have that mentality and then you have someone who's been obviously doing and promoting the business for so long like Dana White has, it kind of got our lines crossed. But fortunately, thanks to my great manager, we were able to kind of come together, talk, and hash everything out. And, things are looking good now.
Okay. We're going to talk about the future in a second, but let's first talk about Friday. That's when you beat Rafael dos Anjos. That was dominant. That was somewhat one-sided. Were you expecting it to be that dominant and one-sided?
Yeah, I expect that in all my fights. In every interview that I do, I tell everyone that I come to dominate. I don't come in for a close fight, fingers crossed, hoping something good happens. It doesn't happen, which is why I'm so confident in what I say, because I leave no stone left unturned when I train for these fights. I go into the fight ready to dominate my opponent from start to finish. And hats off to Rafael. I mean, a tough guy, a true champion. I didn't realize actually how big or how tough he was going to be. But he was tougher, he was bigger, and he did a lot of things right. I finally got to watch the fight yesterday for the first time, and he did a lot of things right. And I felt that inside the cage. There was a lot of positions that I put him in, but he was able to move before I could actually execute what I wanted to execute in those positions. So not just, hats off to him. He did an amazing job.
You obviously, you're known for your wrestling, but I thought you mixed up your striking and your wrestling very well. It was a complete performance out of you, in particular in the 5th round when you were hitting him with that flurry. I thought maybe that would be the end for him. At any point were you thinking like, gosh, what do I have to do to put this guy away?
Absolutely. That's exactly what I thought. I hit him with a really good body, and he did a good job. I actually threw an axe kick, and I land that sometimes. I've been playing with it, and I land that. And I thought, oh, he's a shorter guy. He likes to come in. I would definitely land that. And so I threw it, and he just kind of slight lean. So I knew he still had his bearings, and he was still able to defend and fight. So I'm like, okay, still got to be cautious. And then I hit him with a body shot in that flurry against the cage, and he kind of looks away. I'm like, man, I think I got him. Let's push here. Then I hit him with kind of start another flurry, and he was still in there. I was like, oh man, this guy's tough as hell. So you know what? Let's not just burn ourselves out here. Let's continue with the beating, and hopefully we get him out of there.
That was a smaller cage, right? Because you guys were at the Palms.
Yes, absolutely.
Did you feel like that helped you?
I wouldn't say it helped me or didn't help me. It doesn't matter who it is. It doesn't matter big or small cage. I will corner the guys at some point, and the rest will be some pain after that.
There's been this little trend going where Colby fights a guy, you fight a guy. Colby fights a guy, you fight a guy. Did you look at his performance against Rafael and say, okay, I need to do something? That one happened in June. He won a decision, but did you feel like you had to do something even more impressive, be even more dominant than Colby was when they fought in June?
I always try to do things more dominant than the guy that did it before. And it was one, of course, I like to study. So of course, when I'm fighting a guy like Rafael, you got to study. And so, yeah, I watched that fight. I watched a lot of his other fights. But, there's a big difference between myself and that other guy you named. It's a huge difference. He's a southpaw that throws 2 punches. Hook, overhand, hook. Hook, overhand, hook. Sloppy little kicks and just run forward and try to take the guy down. There's a big difference. I have a whole lot more in my arsenal. I have a whole lot more tools. I'm bigger, I'm stronger, I wrestle better. And so I knew, I saw the areas where he had successes in, and I knew I could have successes in those areas as well. But I also saw openings and saw the places where I could actually take advantage of and really dominate. And I knew this fight was going to be that way. I've said it before. I called out Rafael almost over a year ago. Same thing with Damian Maia. I called him out over a year before I finally got the fight. So these aren't just, oh, well, Colby did it, now I know I can do it. No, I've been asking for these guys for a long time, and it's just now I'm getting the opportunity to actually fight them.
So have we reached a point where you don't like to say Colby Covington's full name, and if so, why?
No, the thing is, I spent a long time wanting that fight because, when you have a guy that runs his mouth and says, oh, well, you ducked me or this and that or whatever, bro, I didn't duck you. They've offered us that fight 4 times, 4 different occasions, and I've accepted all 4 times. But he has ducked me all 4 times. I can say his name. I can say Queefington's name or Covington's name or Duckington's name. I can say his name. It doesn't matter. But can he say my name? That's the issue. He can't. When was the last time you heard him say my name?
Yeah, top of my head.
Exactly, yeah. So, that's a fight that I've been offered several times. I've accepted the fight several times. I just no longer want to give it energy anymore. So I'm not going to waste my energy or thoughts about that. All we're looking towards now is that title. Whoever has that title will be dealt with accordingly.
So I was pleasantly surprised when I heard Dana White's comments about you because he was glowing about your performance. And, you never know his takeaway, and obviously he's a very powerful man in the company. I thought he was unnecessarily critical of some of your other performances. When you heard him say that stuff about you afterwards, I'm assuming you did, what did you think?
Not really much. I mean, I just like, oh, well, thank you, boss. Now you're starting to recognize what I've been saying for a long, long time.
Yes.
You know, it's about time we get this going. So hopefully that gives a little more motivation for him to push for those fights, those big fights that I feel like I deserve, that I've earned. Hopefully, you know, this weekend allowed him to realize that, hey, it is time to make these fights happen for him.
So I wasn't sure if his comments about you potentially getting the title shot next ahead of Covington was like some negotiation, like he's mad at Covington or something, and he's using you as, you know, some bait to get him to sign. I know they want to do it in Anaheim. I know Woodley is recovering from an injury himself. Did you view it as a legit thing, or do you feel like you're being used to try to make that fight, you know, happen sooner?
Hey, you know what? Let's just be honest. Like, our boss is not Dana White's not stupid. He's a very intelligent guy. There's a reason he's been doing what he's been doing for as long as he's been doing it. And so, from what I hear, these two guys are trying to play games. This one's playing games. He's hurt, saying he's hurt. Or this one's saying he's hurt. If they're hurt, doesn't matter. Let me jump in the hot tub. I'll be ready next week. You know, so if these guys want to play games, then and the boss wants to throw me in there, I'm ready. You know, I got into this sport prepared to be the champion. I showed up to Dallas a couple months ago prepared to be the champion, and that nothing has changed. I'm still ready to be the champion. So whenever that opportunity calls, I'm going to be ready.
That said, I understand you were dealing with some serious injuries going to this fight, right?
I had some things going on.
What was going on?
There's some things going on, Ariel. Come on, man. You just want me to tell everybody what's going on?
Yeah, well, now it makes you seem even better if you're dealing with serious injuries and you look like that. Holy smokes, imagine if you were at 100%.
I know. You know, I actually saw a meme that said 40% bitches. I was like, oh, my God. Fucking internet is under. These guys are ruthless. But, yeah, I had some things going into the fight. But the thing, I've been very honest. Like, I'm a very honest person, so in some of those post-fight interviews, I've just kind of wanted to be honest. You know, when you're in the heat of the moment, you're just honest about it. I'm just like, yeah, I had some things going on, and I came in at 30% or 20 or whatever, however percent I was. And I've been honest about it before, but I understand people don't necessarily want to hear that, especially after you just came off of a dominant victory like I always do. So, you know, there was no need to talk about it. We all go into these fights banged up and bruised up to some aspects. So, you know, nothing was going to stop me from this fight. I'm sure I'm going to go into another fight with something going on. So, hey, it is what it happens. It's the nature of the game. I'm just here to be champion.
Any of these issues going to keep you out for a while?
No, I don't think so. It's just a matter of me just getting healed up, getting some of the proper treatment. I actually just came back from seeing the doc. So it's, you know, nothing major. If they need me to fight in Anaheim.
Really? You'll do it? That's in a month and a half.
Hey, it don't matter. A month and a half, I'm still in shape.
Okay.
Give me a week. Like I said, give me a week. Let me get in the hot tub, loosen these body up. I'll be ready to go. So these guys want to play games. You know, obviously Dana White's the wrong guy to play games with because he will make some big decisions. As you said, you know, Sage Northcutt's no longer with us because, hey, if you play games, you might get bit. So, hey, if Dana's ready to throw me in there, I'm ready to be in there.
Something tells me though you're not going to sign up to be a backup fighter in that title fight, right?
Fuck that. No chance in hell. I think I've earned my place to actually be given the fight and given ample amount of time to train and go out and perform. So, you know, I did that time because it was an opportunity. I'm that type of guy who I don't want to be sitting at home saying, and then something does happen and they're looking for the guy, a replacement, and I'm like, shit, I should have been ready. I'm not that guy. I don't like to leave those things to chance. So for me, luck is when opportunity meets preparation meets opportunity. So I always like to be prepared and ready. And when they call, I have to be ready to go.
By the way, what's your relationship like with Tyron? Because I feel like you guys are pretty good friends. Would it be weird for you to fight?
No, it's not weird at all.
Okay. It's
not weird for me to punch my teammates in the face each and every day in practice.
Yeah.
And sometimes I have tried to knock some teammates out in practice. So I'm a purebred competitor. I got into this to compete. I didn't get into this because I for any other reasons. I got into this for the sheer fact of competition. I wanted to be the best at this. There's some welterweights that I'm better friends with that are on the up and up, coming up. Sooner or later, you're going to be hearing about guys like Vicente Luque. You already know who that is.
Yeah.
Vicente is a beast. I mean, and this guy is going to be fighting for that title one day, and he might have to come get it from me. So, when that time comes, of course, we can be friends. We'll put that aside, and we'll go out there and compete and give it the best that we've got. But, yeah, me and Tyron are cool, but that's not going to stop me from taking that title because I need to be in his position. I mean, he's getting the big bucks. He's getting pay-per-views. He's doing movies. He's doing other things like that. Being the champion presents a lot of different opportunities. And those are opportunities that I need to be having, and I need to take advantage of.
I feel like, though, it would feel sweet if somehow Covington's the champion, you beat him to become the champion, right?
Hey, you know what? Like I've said that it would be good for me to take the title away from Tyron because Tyron's been the long champion. He's defended the belt several times. Right now, he seemed to be that guy that people see as the champion. So, of course, it would be amazing for me to dethrone him, but it would feel a whole hell of a lot better for me to beat the shit out of Duckington or whatever his name is. I forget. I get confused with his name. But it would feel a whole hell of a lot better to beat that clown. And I think it's actually a bigger fight because who in the world doesn't want to see me beat him up? Everybody want to see me. I get DMs daily from Brazilians, from people all over the world asking for me to beat that guy up. So, I think it'll be sweeter, of course, to get it. But, hey, champion's a champion. Once I get that belt wrapped around me, that feeling in itself is going to be great enough for me.
I'm very happy for you, my man. 9 in a row in the UFC. What a start for you. I mean, obviously, it's not the start, but, I mean, what a way to cement your place as the number one contender. You are the number one contender, in my opinion. You should get a full training camp. I kind of hope it doesn't happen in Anaheim because I feel like you deserve a little more time. Let those guys fight. You're next up. You don't have to do anything else. Forget about all the other talk about Santiago and this. You've deserved that shot even before this one, in my opinion, but now you just kind of put an exclamation point. So congratulations on the win. I'm happy Dana's coming around as well and not giving you any more crap. And whatever those injuries are that you're dealing with, that you're being so secretive about, I hope they get well soon and that we see you back in there sooner rather than later.
Thank you, Ariel. I really appreciate that.
And by the way, the post-fight get-up, woo, unbelievable.
Hey, you see me?
Unbelievable, man.
Hey, I come fresh all the time. I'm telling these guys, I'm the freshest in the game.
Oh.
It doesn't matter. I come to do work, and I put everyone on notice. Not just do I go in there and dominate. I'm dominating on the fashion aspect as well.
Yes. In and out of the cage. You're on fire, my man. Well done. Appreciate it very much. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
There he is, Kamaru Usman, and what a big weekend also for Nigerian-born fighters on Saturday in Adelaide. Sadiq Youssef with a big win as well. So this is a good time. And last week, of course, Cameroon's own Francis Ngannou with a big win in Beijing. So a lot to be excited about if you are a fight fan from Africa, if you're a fan of those guys as well. I do believe I do not have my ads, but let me read you the ads. If I get, where are you at, Jake? Where are you at, New York Rick? Where are you guys at? Leaving me hanging? Good thing I have it on my computer over here, courtesy of my man Anthony. Okay, before we get to our next guest, let me tell you about our good friends over at Indochino.com. And by the way, I went to an Indochino store last week, and I was thoroughly... Oh, there he is, Jake in the house. I was thoroughly impressed. Wow, I was blown away by Indochino. Super impressive place. I must admit, I hadn't spent a lot of time in one of their stores. This experience is unbelievable. You go in there, you pick your fabric, you pick your style. I mean, this is a true made-to-measure suit. Trust me, I am very proud that Indochino is a part of this program. It is a first-class experience. As you all know, there's no longer any excuse for wearing an ill-fitting suit, especially when they're available at such great prices. Indochino has the highest quality for the lowest price. It's a unique experience where you play designer, quote-unquote, in consultation with their style guides. Indochino is North America's leading made-to-measure menswear company. They make suits and shirts to your exact measurements for an unparalleled fit and comfort. Guys love the wide selection of high-quality fabrics and colors to choose from, and the options to personalize the details, including your lapel, lining, pockets, buttons, and writing your own monogram. Here's how it works. Visit a stylist at one of their showrooms and have them take your measurements personally, or just measure at home yourself. Shop online over at Indochino.com. endotchino.com. You can choose your fabric, both inside and outside, choose your design customizations, and submit your own measurements with your own choices. Then sit back, relax, while your suit gets professionally tailored and mailed to you in a couple of weeks. This week, listeners of this great program can get any premium Indochino suit for just $359 USD. That's over at endotchino.com when entering the code MMA at checkout. That's 50% off the regular price for a made-to-measure premium suit. Plus, shipping is free. That's endotchino.com, promo code MMA for any premium suit for just $359 and free shipping. That's an incredible deal for a premium made-to-measure suit. Let me tell you, my friends, support these guys because they support us, but also because they put on an amazing product, and the experience is really phenomenal. I got a taste of it last week. Highly impressive. Good people over at Indochino. Thank you very much to them. All right, as I said at the top of the show, one of the big stories, especially of the back end of this year, in my opinion, has been the emergence of ONE as a viable player in the free agent game here in North America. They have been doing their thing predominantly over in Asia since 2011. They are the number one promotion in Asia, without a doubt, and they've been doing that for a very long time. However, over the last couple of months, they have really asserted themselves as a viable, true player in the free agent game here in North America. And, of course, we know about Eddie Alvarez going over there recently, signing that free agent deal with them. Also, we know about the trade between Demetrius Johnson and Ben Askren, which was a fascinating thing to see play out. Just last week, they officially announced the signing of Super Sage Northcutt, which, by the way, I disagree with Kamaru Usman's assessment of that deal. Sage Northcutt did not bite any hand or play his cards the wrong way. He got a better deal and a more lucrative deal. He was not released. He was not let go. That's the narrative that's being put out over at Filtered. But no, the free agent market was very strong for him, and he got the best deal from ONE, according to everyone that I've talked to on both sides of the fence. And they also signed Yoshihiro Sexyama Akiyama to a deal that was announced last week as well. Also hired Miesha Tate as a vice president, not to fight, but to be somewhat of an ambassador. So they are on a roll heading in to 2019. They've got some big things planned, and I wanted to talk to the founder, CEO, and chairman of ONE Championship, ONE, Chatri Sityodtong, who's going to be joining us in a matter of seconds via the magic of Skype. He is actually in Tokyo, Japan, where it is currently 3:28 a.m. Japanese time. And so he has stayed up. He has not woken up. He has stayed up to be on this program. So hopefully we'll get him on here in a matter of seconds. And I'm looking forward to talking to him about the growth of the company and especially what they've done over the past couple of months. And it appears as though while the Ben Askren signing a couple of years ago seemed to be somewhat out of left field for them because, predominantly they had a lot of Asian-based fighters. Now it seems as though they are opening their world and perhaps getting ready for a venture over here to North America. Let us not waste any time. Let's go to the magic of Skype and say hello to ONE Chatri Sityodtong, the CEO, chairman, and founder of ONE Championship. Pleasure to be joined by you, Chatri. Oh, we had him and now we lost him. Okay. We're going to get back to him there in a second. Joining us from Tokyo. They just had an event recently and announced that they will be making their debut over there in the not-too-distant future. Okay, we're going to effort, as they say in the TV business, to get to Mr. Sityodtong here in a couple of seconds. After that, we're going to be joined by Brian Ortega and Max Holloway, who, of course, are headlining UFC 231 in Toronto later on this week, Saturday night at the Scotiabank Center. We'll also be joined by ONE Gunnar Nelson. But it has been very fun to see ONE, because my big issue with the quote-unquote term free agency in our sport has been that it's somewhat of a misnomer, because there really wasn't free agency. It's only one other choice. Now that is changing. Okay, now let's try. Go to Chatri, can you see me? Can you hear me? You cannot? I see you well, but you can't see me. Can you hear me? No? Doesn't seem like it. Could we call him on his phone? Have we tried that? All right, let's just do that. You saw him there. That was him. And I feel bad keeping him up this late, because it is 3:30 a.m. over there. But let's call him on his phone. And so that means I have to turn around and sit like this when I do a phone. That's the position. But quickly, as I was saying there, free agency, not a thing when you only have one other option. If you're a UFC fighter, you can go to Bellator. If you're a Bellator fighter, perhaps you can go to the UFC. Well, that's not really free agency. What if you have a bad relationship with the other side? What if your management team has a bad relationship with the other side? There are not a lot of options. But now, all of a sudden, in MMA, there are more options. And it's not just Bellator, UFC, PFL, if you want to include them here in North America. One is a very viable option. A lot of fighters are very excited about this. No one cares that the majority of their events are over in Asia. And there's millions of people who are watching these things. Their app is phenomenal. They've really made, in my opinion, a lot of strides in 2018 in particular to really assert themselves as one of the leading organizations in this sport. Okay, let's try the phone now. Mr. Sityodtong, are you there?
Yes. Hey, Ariel, how are you, man?
I'm doing great. Well, I'm sorry about that. Maybe it was the hotel Wi-Fi or something, but it's great to have you on the show for the first time. And I want to thank you for staying up so late, for being on as well.
No worries at all. It's a normal day.
Well, let's start here, Chatri, and it's something I was talking about as we were trying to connect with you. It feels, at least to me, everyone knows about one. You guys have been in business since 2011, and you have been very successful in Asia specifically. But it feels to me, especially in the last few months, that for whatever reason you have made a conscious effort to broaden your horizons in terms of the kinds of fighters that you are signing, being more aggressive in the free agent game, signing the likes of Eddie Alvarez and Sage Northcutt and doing the deal for Demetrius Johnson. Has there been a shift in the business plan? Why all of a sudden are we seeing one more aggressive with the fighters based here in North America?
Well, yeah, I mean, we're going to be announcing the U.S. TV deal either this month, hopefully by the next couple of weeks, next 2-3 weeks, we'll announce the U.S. TV deal. We're at the very final stages. We've been talking to broadcasters for about a year now, various broadcasters, and one is sort of now in the front running. So I think stay tuned for a couple of weeks.
Okay, so basically coupled with having a presence on television here in the United States, you felt the need to have some more recognizable names on the roster?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the goal has always been to have the world's best martial artists in one championship. It's just that Asia is so huge, and we've been focused here. You know, there's 4 billion people here, and we're really focused in Asia. But this opportunity in the States came up, and we've always had our eyes on a bunch of free agents, but didn't make the move until recently. And I think this is how it's going to be. I think we're always going to cherry pick going forward as well. I mean, we're in multiple discussions at any given point in time, and I think you can expect some big announcements in the future.
Could you give us any hints? I mean, we know that Fox is no longer in the MMA business come January. There are other players out there. Can you give us any hints as to where you will end up?
It's one of the major broadcasters that already is home to one of the major sports in the U.S. One of the top 3 sports in the U.S.
Okay. And have they aired MMA in the past as well?
No, actually, I don't think they've aired MMA. I'm not 100% sure, but yeah.
Okay. And just curious, will all your events be live on this network as well?
Yes, live and delay. Yes.
Oh, okay. And will you be holding events in the United States?
That's still up for negotiations. I mean, it's a possibility, even though I'm a little reluctant. I mean, we really want to stay focused out here in Asia. But yes, we have had the request to throw events in the U.S. as well. So we're debating that.
I have also noticed, Chatri, that you are a lot more visible as far as the dealings, press conferences, making announcements and whatnot. Earlier on, I feel like you were more behind the scenes. Any particular reason for that?
Yeah, I mean, that is true. And I think the first few years I was kind of a little bit more just behind the scenes. And I think it comes down to the fact that now we're backed by Sequoia Capital and Temasek Holdings, and they're making their bet on myself and our leadership team and the rest of our team here. So I think it was made, I guess everyone just said, Chatri, you got to be out there in public. And so that's what happened.
Are you comfortable with that?
Yeah, I am. I mean, I'm not as vocal or as influential as a Dana or a Scott Coker is, but I, in my own way here in Asia, will be opportunistic about media and all that other stuff. So, but yeah, someone's got to carry the flag, right? So,
Right.
And the fact that I've been doing martial arts for over 30 years, and I train every day, and I think that's also something that the investors want is an authentic leader to lead this thing, visibly public. So the brand is very much alive. That was the thought process.
For someone who may not know, who may just be learning more about ONE, given the recent signings, back in 2011, why did you decide to start this organization?
For many reasons, but very simply, I mean, every region of the world has several multi-billion-dollar sports media properties. If you look at the States, NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, Europe has F1, Champions League, EPL, and these are all properties worth tens of billions. I mean, I saw the latest Forbes estimate of NFL, for example, was $82 billion market cap, and that's the world's most valuable sports media property. Out here in Asia, there's literally nothing at the time on a pan-Asian basis. And yet, martial arts has been, here for 5,000 years. Asia's been the whole martial arts for 5,000 years. And I also didn't feel that the West was portraying martial arts in its authenticity, the way it is represented out here in Asia.
Okay, and then in the early days, did you feel
Right.
I know that Asia, obviously back in the Pride days, Japan was a booming market, but I remember being in Japan for UFC 144, and I walked on the streets and we did a video asking people about MMA and Pride, and no one seemed to know anything about the sport anymore. Did you feel like there was a lot of work that needed to be done, of course, outside of Japan, which you have focused on, to educate? Everyone thinks martial arts, Asia, yeah, but they didn't seem to know a lot about MMA. Was that a tough process early on to educate the masses?
So one major... Right. So one major difference between ONE Championship and UFC is that the UFC focus on only MMA. ONE Championship does martial arts in the sense that it does MMA, it does Muay Thai, it does kickboxing, it does boxing, submission grappling. So we do the full gamut of martial arts bouts, and I think that has really resonated with the Asian audience. And so, yes, you're right. MMA is a little bit smaller out here in Asia, but it's growing, but obviously Muay Thai or kickboxing or boxing or submission grappling it depends on the country, but are quite popular. So the way we operate is, we view ourselves as a platform of martial arts as opposed to just MMA.
And what about in Japan? Because next year you will be making your debut in Japan, right? What is the temperature over there? What is the appetite like for mixed martial arts in particular?
Well, I'll tell you, like Japan is at an all-time low in terms of martial arts, MMA. Since its Pride days, it's literally gone south, and it's because of the whole mafia connections that used to run the martial arts community here. And so I think for me, it's a big opportunity for a revival, a renaissance, if you will. And reignite Japan. I think Japan still, if you look at every child in Japan, which I'm in Tokyo right now, every child is still in karate, kendo, aikido, judos. That's how parents teach their kids values. And so I think there's a huge opportunity, if done in the right, authentic way, to bring back martial arts and make it the most popular viewing sport again. So my goal is to make it bigger than Pride ever was in Japan. I mean, we're already much, much bigger than Pride ever was in terms of, you think about our viewership numbers and stuff like that. We're far bigger than Pride ever was. But I'm talking about Japan specifically. I believe we have a chance here to be much bigger than Pride ever was.
When you were talking to free agents, the Eddie Alvarez's of the world, the Sage Northcotts of the world, and you're trying to give them the pitch as to why ONE is a good place for them, do you feel, because you are based in Asia, because you may not be, a household name here in the United States where they're based, that you have to overpay for these guys initially to try to get them, the first sort of, the first slew of guys that are going to come over, you're going to have to overpay them because you need to get that ball rolling over here?
Well, I wouldn't say overpay, but I would say pay what they're worth. I definitely think, again, take someone like DJ or like an Eddie who, are not only unbelievable athletes in the cage, but how they represent true martial arts outside the cage. And that's very, very important to me and very, very important to One Championship. So we're a very, very different organization, and it is because we are based out here in Asia. We, it's, again, the birthplace of martial arts. So I'm looking for guys like Eddie, like DJ, like Sage, who are, not only like amongst the world's greatest martial artists, but genuinely embody and exemplify the spirit and the values of martial arts. So, we're, if you will, we're a much more select pool. Just because you're a great fighter, just because you're a great martial artist, does not mean you'll get a invite into One Championship.
Yeah, I remember you made some headlines when you said that if Conor McGregor was a free agent, you wouldn't sign him because of some of his quote-unquote antics. A lot of people feel like that's disingenuous. Come on, Conor McGregor, the biggest star in the history of MMA, you really wouldn't sign him?
No, I really wouldn't. I mean, I don't think he would do well out here in Asia. In fact, if he did some of the things that he did, has already done, I think a lot of governments here would take serious issue. So I don't want to badmouth anybody. I mean, Conor's his own guy, but it's just, it's like any other industry, right? Any other company. There's going to be companies for XYZ type of people, and there's companies for ABC type of people. And I think what you're seeing now is that between UFC, One Championship, and Bellator, an athlete can choose where he or she is best represented, or where he or she most feels at home, that according to his or her values. Like, DJ, for example, will never be, the trash talker, the guy who disses people. He's always going to be the, take the high road and, the man of character and the man of values. And I think, for him to find a home here and One Championship, it's going to resonate with our fans greatly, and vice versa. He's going to be much, much happier. So it's no different. Every industry has, companies that seek out certain kind of talent and vice versa. So I think that's what we're seeing now.
What did you make of his tweet saying that it's your fault that the flyweight division is suffering in the UFC and that it's your obligation to sign all these guys? What did you make of that?
I think Conor McGregor should probably go to business school to understand. It's UFC's decision if they want to close the flyweight division. It has nothing to do with me. I mean, I just only signed one athlete. That's like saying that I should shut down the welterweight division because Ben Askren left. I mean, it just didn't make any sense. So, I think he was doing it more to try to, create a Twitter battle with me or something like that. And I didn't engage in it.
Right.
But I have a lot of respect for Conor and what he's done. It's just that he's just not the right guy for us here in One Championship or in Asia. He's just not the right guy. So, yeah.
When you heard about the idea of this quote-unquote trade, were you on board from the get-go, or did you need to be convinced?
No, I was all for it. I just want to make sure, Ben Askren is a good buddy of mine, and I want to make sure everyone was happy about it. So one of my things about life is I really believe in win-win. I don't believe in win-lose situations or partnerships, if you will, and I want to make sure that DJ was happy, made sure that UFC was okay with it, and so was Ben Askren. I think in the end, I genuinely believe that the trade, everyone was better off, literally everyone. I mean, I think Ben Askren is a massive star in the UFC. People really don't realize how terrifying his wrestling is. But if you, talk to Duke Rufus and all the UFC fighters who visit, and train with Tyrone and Ben, or you come out here in Asia, I've seen Ben, just maul and destroy the top elite UFC, Bellator, and One Championship fighters. I won't reveal any names. I just tell you that, people in the know how good Ben Askren is, and so I think UFC has a star on their hands. So I think everyone wins.
Could you give us your side of the Sage Northcutt deal? Because Dana White came out last week and said that they let him go and they wanted him to get some more fights and maybe he'd come back. I had heard otherwise. I think it's more valuable to hear your side of the story. What's your take on how this whole deal with Sage came about? and like him ultimately deciding to start with to
Well,
sign with you?
Right. So a few weeks ago, Sage came to Singapore, and so a few weeks ago we'd already agreed on a deal. I think at the same time, UFC had offered Sage Damian Maia, and to try to get him back into the UFC, and Sage and his father just wanted to go with us, and then they presented the offer, I believe, to Hunter. And UFC didn't or couldn't match. I don't know what it was. And then Dana came out and said what he said. And then, we were already signing the agreement. So then we came out what we said a day or 2 days after Dana. But I think Sage had his mind made up, and so did we have our mind made up with Sage a few weeks ago.
And your deal that you offered him was more lucrative than the one the UFC was offering him, to the best of your knowledge?
Actually, I don't even know. I don't know I don't know.
Okay.
I'm presuming, but I don't know 100%. Right? I don't know what UFC was offering. I didn't ask. We just put our best foot forward. I really believe in Sage as a talent. I mean, he's a multiple-time karate world champion, black belt Hall of Famer at the age of 15 years old. I mean, I think he's probably pound for pound the most athletic, in terms of his balance, explosiveness, cardio, etc. He's the most talented pound-for-pound martial artist on the planet. So I think, at 22, I think that there's a huge runway for him to be a huge global superstar.
Is your goal one day?
And again, what I like about Sage.
Yep.
Go ahead.
No, please.
Oh, what I like about Sage is that, look, not only is he an amazing guy in the cage, but look how he is outside. He's the nicest, most humble, kind guy. He's a great role model. My definition of success, Ariel, is if our fans, if kids put up posters of their heroes, of one chapter heroes in their bedrooms, I want parents and grandparents to come and go, wow, that's a great role model. Wow, because he or she has integrity, humility, honor, respect, courage, discipline, compassion. Wow, that's a great life story. That's someone you should emulate, not because you want to be a professional fighter, but that's someone you want to emulate in life. And that is my definition of success, which is a very, very different bar than what UFC has, for example, right? So it's just, again, what resonates in America is different than what resonates here, but also the objectives of what I want to do versus what they want to do is very, very different. So, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think, we're seeing now that athletes have a choice. If you are a superstar athlete and just prefer to, stick to your values, or whichever way, you can find an organization that best embodies your values.
Is your goal and hope to overtake the UFC as the number one promotion here in North America? And if so, how long do you think that will take?
No, I don't. I don't. I'm not that focused about that. I mean, I'm much more focused about up here in Asia what we're doing. And but I mean, if you look at the numbers already, we're already much larger than UFC in terms of viewership numbers. We averaged this year, 2018, according to Nielsen, we averaged 20 million viewers per event. And so when I see the U.S. numbers of, I don't know, 1 million buys or 800,000 viewers, whatever it is, that's the kind of viewership you get in the States. But here in Asia, we get 20 million viewers per event, according to Nielsen.
Wow. You guys have Nielsen over there? I didn't know that.
Yes.
Wow. That's incredible.
Yeah, you can, verify with Nelson. You'll call them. So the scale is already different. So what people don't understand is that the Western MMA media is well, actually, all MMA media is predominantly out of the U.S., right? Sherdog, You, MMA Weekly, MMA Fighting, etc. And so everything's reported on UFC, or Bellator. But the reality is, if you're in the know in the sports world, everyone knows that one championship viewership numbers are much larger. And it's not because we are better. I mean, it's just that the land mass here in Asia is massive, but also we've chosen a path to go on free-to-air TV instead of just a paid wall, etc. So it's a different strategy altogether.
It feels like it's taken the fighters a long time to get rid of the F in ONE FC. Why did you drop that?
Because, when we first started it, I had not given it deep enough thought about the name, honestly. It sounds kind of silly, but I thought, hey, man, it was Pride Fighting Championship and, One Fighting Championship. And I didn't really think about it deeply. But then as we started to, gain a little bit of traction with broadcasters, with governments, with sponsors, et cetera, then we realized that, fighting is not what is in the Asian DNA. And actually, culturally, most cultures out here in Asia, most countries out here in Asia are very against fighting and the word fighting. So, it just was a adaptation, but also it was also finding our way as well. So it wasn't some rocket science thing. It was literally, we heard it enough times with governments, with broadcasters, et cetera, and we also agreed with them. So.
And last quick thing for you, Chatri, and this has been great. I really appreciate the time. Once you do sign that TV deal with the U.S., does that mean that the fights won't be available for free on the app? That's been a great thing, but I would imagine you want to make money at some point with these fights here in North America. Is that going to be the case?
That's unfortunate for the U.S. market. That you're right. When we announce the U.S. TV deal, then the app is no longer free.
Okay. That makes all the sense in the world. This has been great. I could talk to you for an hour about all of this. Congratulations on all your success up until this point over the past 7 years, and in particular with what you've done over the past few months. It's been amazing to see one emerge as a real player in free agency. I wish you guys nothing but the best. And when you do sign that deal, please do come back and talk to us about it, because I have a lot more questions for you.
Sure, Ariel. Hey, thanks so much for having me on your show. Appreciate it, man.
Pleasure as always. Thank you so much, and thank you for staying up as well. There he is, the founder, chairman, and CEO of ONE Championship. A lot of big news out of them recently, more to come as well. Let's go to the magic of Skype now and say hello to the man who will be challenging for the UFC featherweight title on Saturday in beautiful Toronto, Ontario, Canada. T-City in the house. Brian Ortega is here. Brian, how are you?
I'm doing good, man. How about you?
I'm doing great. A pleasure as always. I see the Staples Center right in back of you over there. I'm sure part of you...
I'm here in my office in LA, man. So, we're just enjoying the beautiful view.
Must be nice. Just a little heads up. The weather's a lot different in Toronto. Are you ready for that?
Layers, layer.
But honestly, does that mess with you? Like, as a fighter who's cutting weight and you live in a predominantly warm climate, you're going to freezing cold climate. Are you worried about how your body reacts to that as you're preparing for a fight?
The way I look at it, it's like the sauna and the jacuzzi always stay the same temperature. So as long as that's there, then we're good to go, man.
Is there any part of you, Brian, that's worried that this fight doesn't happen again?
Small part. Okay. Small part. Because we know, like, usually when Max starts cutting weight, that's kind of where that issue always comes up, Yeah. And yeah, we're worried a little bit, but I'm doing my part,
Is it hard to fully invest yourself in the fight when this is sort of creeping in the back of your mind?
Yeah, emotionally, I haven't really invested myself in it anymore, especially since that last one. I kind of just detached myself and just got to work for whatever, It was like, the way I put it is like, I'm just going to fight for a title no matter who it is now. I'm just going to get ready. The
difference, of course, this time is that they've announced that Renato Moicano is a backup fighter. Does that make you feel a little better?
Well, the fact that there's going to be someone there to fight, absolutely.
But I would imagine that you want to fight Max. Like, there's a different feeling, right?
That's the ultimate feeling, man, because when you see these promo videos and you see everything and you look at him and you go, man, he's the man. And that's the guy that you have to take out to win the belt.
Brian, you're such a good-looking guy, but do you mind panning your camera down? Because I only see your eyes right now, and they're sort of like, yes, they're mesmerizing, but I want to see your mouth as well, because the eyes are I get lost in the eyes sometimes. I see you, Brian, now. It's amazing. I see you courtside hanging next to LeBron, and like you're with all these bigwigs. I feel like a lot has changed, like being in Hollywood, and you're hanging out with Brad Slater, the famous Hollywood agent. So have you gone Hollywood on us, Brian? What's going on? What's happening?
I'm just enjoying what is it? You're enjoying the fruits of your labor.
Yes.
That's it. I'm gonna say this because I don't think a lot of people know, but it's like I have these things, right, where I go out there and I enjoy myself, but when it's done, I go back and I'm in the hood again. You know, it's back to reality. That's what I say. Every time I go over there, especially like how Brad introduced me and took me over there, I feel like the Cinderella. You know, I'm on my. It's almost a matter of time before that spell wears off, and then you go back. Does
it feel uncomfortable for you a little bit? Because not that long ago.
I actually like it better.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I like it. I like knowing that, like, life is not all that great. You know.
No. I mean, uncomfortable hanging out with the bigwigs.
With the big boys?
Yeah, with the Hollywood people.
It, man. I looked at LeBron and I just sized him up real quick, and I was like, my first thought was, I could take him.
Yeah.
If I had to. He's got some big legs, but I could take him.
Yeah.
And then after that, I was just talking to Brad, man. Brad's a man. He's really helping me make some things happen and pretty much, you know, giving me other options outside of the octagon, you know?
He's a fancy movie agent. Are you getting into movies as well?
Yes, we are.
Oh, what do you got? Anything you can tell us?
So I did one part in one role, a small role where I talked, and then now coming in January, I don't know how much I can say, but I'm pretty much we're doing something big in January.
What do you got? What could you tell us?
I don't know what I can and cannot say. I don't want to get in trouble if I say too much or too little.
No one watches this. Don't worry.
Yeah, right. I think we got a lead role in a big movie.
Wow. Well done.
Yeah. So starting January, we do that, and then we have a couple stuff coming up.
I remember prior to I think it was the Frankie Edgar fight where you said that you slept on the floor so that you remember your roots. You doing the same thing for this fight?
I'm still sleeping there.
Really?
Yeah.
On the floor?
Yeah.
Why?
I like it.
It keeps you in check?
It doesn't keep me in check. I just like it, man. You know, like I don't know. I'm a weirdo sometimes.
Do you have an actual bed?
Yeah. No one uses it.
When's the last time you slept in the actual bed in your house?
I don't know, man.
Wow.
When we have guests.
And is it a mattress on the floor or is it straight on the floor?
Like straight on the floor, like a little county jail mattress kind of style.
Jeez. So is it weird when you go to when you go to Toronto, I'm assuming in the hotel you're not going to sleep on the floor, right?
No.
Is that weird for you?
Nah.
Okay.
That's that's kind of how you know that's how when I look at it, I go, oh, you made it now. Now you get to sleep at the Sheraton. You got a nice room and you got all your buddies with you and you guys are all joking around. That's kind of like takes away from that. But when I'm in training, you know, I'm in there alone all day, 24 hours. So it's like wake up, just me and my little mattress on the floor, and then that's it.
Are your family members coming to this fight as well?
Yeah, we're trying to see how many we can get in, just to come. I know they don't like the cold, so we're trying to see if we can layer them up to come. And my dad for sure is coming. My mom, we'll see if she can get through or not. But yeah, for the majority, everyone's coming.
What about your brother, your younger brother?
He's coming. He's excited. He said he wants to be in the open workouts again. His last time his little fan got to his head, so we'll see. Well,
you told me that you like to drive home with your dad when you fight in Vegas. This time it's different. What's the ritual going to be?
I have no idea, man. I don't know if... I don't know. I want to just get that belt and That is a ritual that's going to change.
I also remember when
Not down and drive all the way from all the way back home.
No, don't do that. Although it would be a good drive if you're the champion. I remember when you said that the fight was going to be in Toronto, you said some of your friends were worried because Canada's a little strict with their laws if you've got things on your record. Have you dealt with all of that? Are you good? Are your boys going to come?
Yeah, I'm really thankful for the UFC, man. They had to go through a lot of leaps and bounds and to get my corners over there, really. I'm not going to say too much more, but yeah, they pulled up the rap sheet, and these guys had pages of stuff from the past. And so we were lucky enough to get them through. If not, we'll find a way. We always do.
Okay. But as of now, do you have your corner secured?
Henner for sure.
Okay. He's the one with the squeaky clean rap sheet, right?
James, I think, kind of made the cut.
Okay.
And then the other guys were still they're up for question mark. Yeah.
Okay, fair enough. I watched the videos of you, when you're in LA and everything, and then bed and stuff like that. And I noticed I've wanted to ask you about this for a while. Where you go to eat and they prepare your meals, it's like this restaurant, but with all due respect, it's almost like a Mexican, like a bodega. Yeah, that's the place that makes your meals as you're cutting. I don't understand this. Can you explain to me what's going on over there? Because it looks like a grocery store or something. What is happening there?
It's a meat market, grocery store / restaurant.
Okay.
It's a nice small business, and it's owned by a good friend. I consider him family, Miguel, La Perla Tapatia. And I mean, we just started with meal preps in the beginning, and then every time I would go pick up a meal prep, I would go and I tell him, I'm actually hungry right now, man. Like, can you cook me up something? And that's how it started. And then next, I had meal preps at home, but I'll just drive down there just to eat, just because. And I mean, it's something that I don't know. I love the vibe there, man. I love everything. It feels like home. For me, that place has different values because when I was a kid, my mom worked there.
Ah.
And I was a little kid kind of just playing around in the whole store. And then now that I grow up, it's like now I'm hanging out in that store where my mom used to work at. And now we're just kind of hanging out on good terms. Like, we're eating the food here. We're hanging out. We bring everyone down there. Miguel always takes care of us. And that's kind of became our spot now. And one thing about Miguel is he can go healthy or he can go unhealthy real quick. And you can go there all the time. You can go there during training camp. You can go there once you're done with training camp and eat anything you want. I mean, from hot Cheetos with nacho cheese and carne asada to meal prep. I mean, this guy, he can do it all for us.
Wow. Okay. Now I know. I've been wondering about that for a while now because it's not your typical place that you see a fighter at. So that is a great backstory.
I'm usually at places you don't see fighters at.
Right. But now that you're getting Hollywood, you're sitting courtside at the Staples Center. So
that's just one night, though. That's just one night. And you still don't see fighters there.
That's true. That is true. Brian, I'm just curious, how would you describe 2018 for you? Because I feel like it started unbelievably with the knockout of Frankie Edgar, and then what a roller coaster of emotions right over the summer, and then just the making of this fight, and even probably what you're dealing with now. You're saying, you're scheduled to fight in 5 days, and you still don't really know what's going to happen. How would you describe this year for you?
It's been a long year, man. It started off great, and it was going in the right direction, and it's still going in the right direction. But I feel like I've been left without action, though, We trained, we fought Frankie, and after that we got ready we stepped in on short notice for Khabib, and that didn't happen. And then we got ready for Max, and then that didn't happen. And then I just kept training, and then now fast forward, it's almost pretty much been a year. And it's been a year where we just have been training nonstop. kind of with no, like I said, no end goal, kind of as in terms of security, right? Is there going to be a fight? Is he going to show up? Is he not going to show up? All these rumors that spread out, you know, after he couldn't make weight or whatever happened. And we just got kind of left on pause. And we've been training hard, but we haven't, like I said, barely. Finally now, December, we get to fight and find out what I'm made out of, which is something we've been trying to find out. And I feel the entire team is tired. The entire team wants to finally just say, hey, let's get this fight done with. And let's just enjoy our life a little bit. Because a lot of people are sacrificing a lot for this. My boxing coach, my friends, everyone's sacrificing their time of their life. And it's been a year now. And I've sacrificed my entire year. I have not celebrated my birthday. I didn't celebrate anything, man. I haven't celebrated Thanksgiving. I haven't celebrated you name it. I haven't lived an actual kind of regular life in a year. I've just been kind of nonstop, just training for whatever happens. It was like whether I can get in on a short notice fight, whether it was a Khabib fight or a Khabib and Conor fight, or it was training for my fight. And now we're just kind of finally here, and we're knocking on wood that this just pulls through.
Do you feel like you're in the right space mentally heading into this title fight on Saturday?
I feel like I'm in the right state. I feel like I said I kind of emotionally detached myself from it, and then went more into just this kind of beast mode to just go in there and just fight at all costs, no matter who it is.
Considering all of that you just described, and I've been privy to a lot of things covering this sport, I will never forget leaving the Palms the Thursday of 226 and seeing the look on your face when you were coming in after that press conference with your team, how mad you were about things that were being said, your title fight being taken away from you. I mean, it looked like fume was actually coming out of your ears, like in the cartoons. The look on your face, in your eyes, you were livid. And it was all being taken away from you, and I think you felt like you were being somewhat, disrespected and whatnot. Considering all that, have you allowed yourself to think what it would feel like if you get the belt wrapped around your waist on Saturday?
Yeah. I pictured it. I imagined it. I've dreamt it. And I feel like it's going to be a big, like, I told you so. Like, I told you I was going to get my shot. I told you I'm deserving of this. I knew my worth. I know my worth. And we stuck to our guns. And now we're here. And I feel when Dana puts a belt on me, it's going to just add the cherry on top. I
can't wait. 5 days away. Safe travels, Brian. Best of luck to you. Thank you for doing this. Thank you for squeezing us in. I appreciate it always. And I look forward to seeing you out there in Toronto.
By the way, this is not my office.
Well, I believed you because you're such a big timer now. You could afford it now.
We just got done doing some interviews on
It's okay. Keep that to yourself, man. Keep that to yourself. No one has to know.
Yeah. No, I just kind of want to let know. I don't want to be a faker.
All right. Fair enough. You're the man, Brian. We appreciate it. Talk to you soon. All the best. There he is, Brian T. City Ortega. We are 5 days away from one of the most anticipated featherweight title fights of all time. We are looking forward to UFC 231. At least I am. I don't want to talk for all of you, but I am. Now, another thing I'm looking forward to telling you about is our friends over at Stamps.com. As you know, the holidays are the busiest time of the year, especially at the post office. That's why we use Stamps.com. It saves us so much time during the hectic holiday season. Stamps.com brings all the services of the U.S. Post Office right to your desktop and doorstop and desktop. This is what you can do over at Stamps.com. You can buy and print official U.S. postage for any letter, any package, any class of mail using your own computer and printer. Then the mail carrier picks it up. No trips to the post office required. It couldn't be easier. Print postage any day, anytime. Stamps.com is always open. And Stamps.com not only saves you time, it saves you money as well. Stamps.com helps you print the right amount of postage every time. Never overpay again. And with Stamps.com, you get discounts on postage you can't even get at the post office. With all the time and money that you'll save, Stamps.com is the best gift you can give yourself this holiday season. Right now, you too can enjoy Stamps.com service with a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale without long-term commitments. Go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in MMA. That's Stamps.com. Enter the code MMA and support them because they support us. Let me tell you something. I am a proud Canadian. We love Canada where I'm from. I mean, all Canadians love Canada. Who wouldn't love Canada? I mean, look at this flag. It's unbelievable. It's very rare to see an outsider love the great country of Canada just because they don't know. They don't know how special it is. But let me tell you something. There's a young man from Waianae in Hawaii who supports Canada like it is his own. He fought there once before back at UFC 206. That's when he became the interim featherweight champion. He returns on Saturday to defend his featherweight title, the official featherweight title, Saturday at the Scotiabank Center. We are talking now to the featherweight champion of the world, the one and only Max Blessed Holloway. Max, how are you?
My man.
There he is.
That was a pretty good introduction. I'm sorry that we only could do a phone interview. You know, I wanted to see that nose of yours, but I'm sorry that you couldn't see my face.
Yeah. Well, you don't do Skype with us anymore. You're big time now. You're the champ.
No. We over here. I just didn't have no Skype. I didn't have no laptop with me, so I was like, to the phone though. I gotta get on the phone with my man Ariel, man. It's been a minute.
It has been a minute. I've been trying to talk to you. Your guy Brian Butler, he shields you. He's very protective of you. But I'm happy that we're talking now, and I'm happy that you're doing well. I have a lot of questions for you, Max. First off, when did you get to Toronto?
I got to Toronto Thursday. Yeah, the last week Thursday champs got to do champ stuff, and we had to do media in New York on Wednesday, and then I got in there early morning Wednesday, did my media, then got out there early, got out of New York early Thursday morning, and then got here, and the rest is history. We're here. You guys be seeing my IG feeds and stuff. Got to go to the game and witness that.
Yes.
4 years. That you talk about the love and Canadian stuff. I feel the love, man. It's been 4 years since Raptors beat Golden State at home, so that's pretty dope. And then the tweet that they tweet after, they use my GIF and stuff, so it's pretty sick. Incredible.
I know they were showing you the love. And you were there courtside. It was amazing to see you being showered with that love. And you got to meet the Six God himself, the biggest Max Holloway fan on the planet, Drizzy Drake. What was that like?
It was cool, man. A nice guy, man. I got to chop it up with some of his friends and some of his crews, and they're all good bunch of people, man. When the interaction we had, so. It was super cool to see, That's a guy that, I don't only admire for his music. I admire for what he does for his city and then the way he puts on. So it was great to, actually meet him and talk story.
He's a Conor guy. We've seen him with Conor, and now he's with you. He's got to pick a side, right? I mean, did you tell him you got to pick it? Like, you're either a blessed guy or a notorious guy. Which side are you on?
I don't care, If he came out walking out with Ortega on Saturday, it'd be dope. He stayed in the building. He stayed witnessing Blessed Era. So if he did that, it's whatever. Everybody thinks so. This is beyond his music. I admire a lot of the moves he does, like business wise and stuff. So it's cool, man. It's whatever.
Is he coming to the fight? Any word?
No, I ain't got no word. I know some of his boys be in attendance, but we see what happens. I have no idea.
I was just talking to Brian before you came on, Brian Ortega, who you're fighting on Saturday, UFC 231, and he said that there's a part of him who cannot feel like emotionally invested in this because he's a little bit worried that the fight will fall through again, that something will happen. How are you feeling? I think everyone wants to know, how are you feeling? Is there anything that is concerning to you? Do you feel like this is the old Max coming back? Can you give us an update on how you're doing?
I feel like a champ. I feel great. I feel blessed. It's a blessed era. It is what it is. The man can say whatever he wants. That's his own words. But, the Blessed Express, choo-choo. We pulled up. We're stopping right here, and it's time to get on now, because I'm telling you, when the Blessed Express continues on down the road, if you don't got a seat inside, it's gonna be irritating running behind us. So make sure you guys get a seat now and get on the Bless train.
I remember when we spoke after what happened at 226, and you said you didn't know, they didn't tell you what happened. Here we are, like 3-4 months later. Do you have any idea now medically what happened?
Right now like I said, all these questions, we're gonna get asked this question all week long, and if you guys want to hear me sound like a broken record, then here it is. I already answered these questions a bunch of times, and at the end of the day, they knocked out everything that whatever people was putting out there, and we stood, for me and my team, we got a private investigation going on, so I can't really comment on it too much. So that's it. That's just it. We just leave it at that. I know you guys know what I know. We put it out there, and we still got our little private thing going on, but I can't really comment on it. So that's the way I'm gonna leave it.
Okay, and I don't mean to keep bothering you with this. We haven't talked in a while, so I know you're probably getting it asked a lot as you're gearing up for the fight. But this is the first time I've heard you mention the investigation. What is that? What are you investigating?
It is exactly what I just told you. It's a private investigation that I cannot tell you about, so I'm not going to make any further comments. Come on, Ariel.
Okay, I mean...
I think I doubt better than you.
Well, no, I mean, you say that you're investigating... I wasn't sure. Are you investigating like someone that put something in your food or someone that you were in contact with? I mean, it's a broad thing, and it's not very common to hear that.
Yeah. Well, we got a private investigation going on right now for doing my health stuff, so that's just it.
Okay. Is it fair to say that you're getting annoyed of talking about all this?
No, it is what it is. The people are going to talk about it. You're going to talk about it. It's people's jobs. People concerned about me, and then people also got to do their jobs. So I ain't mad, but like I said, it's just going to be a broken record. Everybody asking the same question, and everybody trying to get different answers. It's going to be the same answer every time. I just got to let people know.
Okay. Last thing on all of this, do you feel like it's almost like two battles this week? Like once the weigh-ins are over, you can then all those questions go away, you could breathe a sigh of relief, and then fully focus on the fight?
Oh, I'll focus on the fight, man. I'll focus on the fight 100% right now. It is. I just can't wait to go out there, and it's been too long. I'm focused. There's nothing else to say. If I wasn't focused on the fight, I wouldn't be here. So I'll focus on the fight. I'm focused on the present right now. What happened in the past, and not too worried about what's going to happen in the future. Right now I'm focused on today, one step at a time. We get there, and I can't wait to make that walk.
Obviously, Toronto is very far from Hawaii, and I know you wanted to fight in Hawaii next, but is this almost the next best thing because of the love that you have for Canada, because of the great memories that you had there back at 206? Like, just to be back in that environment and considering everything of this past year, this is almost like, I feel like it's almost like chicken soup for your soul, if you know that term, just being around a place that you love so dearly.
Yes, like I said, for people that don't know, there's 8 Hawaiian islands, in the chain. We call it the biggest 9th island because a bunch of Hawaiians move out there. This is the 10th island. Toronto is the 10th island for me, man. It's like, my website, we been getting hit up by a dozen or more people. It's like telling me, like, showing me love and telling me, hey, look, if your team come in early or your team got anything, we got an extra room for you guys to stay and this and that. The love here is crazy, The love here is crazy. Like I said, the love I got from Toronto on top of Thursday, the Raptors was crazy, and a bunch of it's just amazing, This place is amazing, and if you guys never ever came here, it's beautiful too, It's a beautiful city, so I love it. I love it like it's my own, and it's cool to see all the support and all the love here. It's amazing, And like I said, if it's not UFC Hawaii, take me to Vegas or bring me back out to Toronto. I love it. It's just cold. The UFC's been trying to ice me, but the wave goes on. So Bless Area is still full effect, and I can't wait to get the show roll on with the show.
Did you snowboard for the first time this weekend?
Oh no, it was my first time, but yeah, we did go have some fun. For
wow.
Sure.
When have you snowboarded before? When have you had that opportunity? The last time you were there?
No. Actually, the last time I snowboarded was in We went to Germany. I did a family trip there. I think that was the first time. And then like one of my other fights before I fought Cole Miller, we was there early. You know, we ended up hitting the slopes too, so it was pretty fun.
Yeah, your outfit was phenomenal, by the way. The pink, I think it was pink. I'm not really, I'm colorblind. That was pink, right?
Yeah, that was pink. That was like electric pink and blue and all those colors. It was a throwback. It was a throwback. The thing. It was like a hot tub time machine thing. I was getting commented on it all the time. It was funny. It was cool. I liked it.
Is Mini Blessed coming to Toronto?
Oh, you know, Mini Blessed be there ringside, man. You know, I can't. That guy's about to steal my shine again. But hey, it is what it is. If it's anybody, it's him. So they actually leave tomorrow. They leave tomorrow to get up here Wednesday, and I can't wait to see him. You know, it's been a while since I got to hang out with him, so I can't wait to see him come up fight week.
The videos that you posted of him at the Bruno Mars concert, I think it was, of him dancing on the chair and whatnot. I mean, it's I say it again, the kid has more style, more swag. I mean, it's just amazing than grown men. I don't know how he where does he get this stuff? How does he know those moves?
I don't know, Ariel. I saw your IG. I don't know. Your swag is pretty good.
Oh, you saw that, right? You saw that?
Pictures that you posted, my dude. My dude.
Oh, you saw that.
So Mini Blessed, so he can have a little photo shoot with my man up here. But you know, I don't know, man. The kid is special. The kid is Mini Blessed is, you know, Blessed is more than a nickname to us, and you can see, man, that guy. I don't know what, like, I don't know where he gets it from. You know, people are, like, I would like to take full credit, but I know I can't. You know, that guy is he's on his own level, so he keep doing him, and as long as he stay in trouble, do good in school, and stay out of trouble, and do good in school, I'll support him whatever he want to do.
It seems like you have a very a good relationship with Bruno Mars. How did that come about? You know, Bruno just, every time I fight, Bruno always sends me a message. He always hits me up, you know, tell me what's up. You know, when I was there, we got in the back and we talked story, got to kick it a little bit. Bruno's a real person, down to earth, man. He's so funny, you know. Actually, when we saw Bruno Mars, he brought us in the back. We was hanging out with him before his concert. My mom, man, she's on something else. I need to keep her on a leash or something. I don't know what is gonna. She goes like this. So I'm there with Smash Boy, you know, Michael Nakagawa, one of my best friends, Mini Blessed, and me and Bruno Mars and his crew, his girls there, and a bunch of other people was in there. And then my mom is like trying to whisper to Smash Boy, but says it loud as day. Is like, oh my gosh, he's so short. Oh man!
And I was like, Mom, you know that you're not whispering. Like you talked to me, you kind of shouted it, and he was like, oh no, I wasn't trying to whisper. Like she tried to play it out. Like, Mom, you're ridiculous. And then Bruno Mars goes, oh Auntie, I heard that, and like it's super local. Like if you heard him, like he talked like pidgin. Where we talked, so it's super funny the way he said it. It was just laughing. It was just funny. It was a good time.
Wow. Yeah, sometimes moms will do that, but awesome that you bring your family along to those opportunities to meet those kinds of people. Just curious, what was your reaction, Max, after everything that you've been saying and doing when you found out that Bellator is going to be in Hawaii for 2 shows next week?
Hey, congratulations to them. You know, congratulations. They got a champ, the Hawaiian champ, Lima. You know, go do her thing, go show, and I wish nothing but the best for the event, so we can show you, so I can be like, look, it's time, you know, when is it our time, you know, and congrats to them. I got a bunch of Hawaiians on it, you know, so Smash Boy's fighting on it, Edward Thomas is fighting, Maki Pitolu, a bunch of my teammates is fighting, and Sucker Punch guys too, so that's dope, you know, they get to be there, get to be home, and I'm excited, you know, I'm excited for them. I can't be more grateful for that, you know, they got the opportunity before us, but I ain't giving up. You know, UFC what is going to happen. It's going to happen. I don't care who I got. You know, Dana White, if I need to fight you, then we're going to fight. Something's happening. If Dana White wants me to fight my mother, I'm going to sign the contract, make sure that we get paid well, and let me do it, please, because I really want to go home. But I'm excited. All jokes aside, I'm excited for them. I got a bunch of guys on my team that's on the event, and and the champ, Ilima, you gotta go do your thing, go show the world, and show everybody what Hawaii is about.
When you found out that news, did you hit up Dana and say, why are they doing this and we're not?
No, I was actually, that's a salty person. I was actually like, oh, damn, look, it's happening. It's cool, and I was like, man, I can't wait for my shot. I was super excited for them. It is what it is. We tried, we kept trying, but, and nothing came out of it. So at the end of the day, all I can do is keep pushing, hashtag UFC Hawaii. We're going to be, with the 10 Island going to fill this lava come December 8th, and then, you guys are not going to be able to shut me out about going home.
You had your traditional meeting with the king back home. Can you say his name for me? I don't want to mess it up.
King Kamehameha.
Kamehameha.
Yeah, Kamehameha.
I love when you post that picture at night. And I'm just curious, is the chat always the same, or is it different given the circumstances?
I just go there, just have a talk, Like, it changed, We just let them know what's going on. I post. They made a new statue as King Kamehameha III.
Oh.
I actually saw both of them. I went and saw both of the statues now, so I go see. So the one I usually post is King Kamehameha the first, and then the third is his son, and it's cool. Cool to see. That was the boy had to be there early in the morning too. So that was fun. That's always a great thing to do. I saw you actually tweeted. Thank you for pointing that out. It's real dope for me, and it means a lot to me.
So you went in the morning. I thought you were there at night. You woke up early to do that.
Oh yeah, I go before I get on the plane. That's just my thing. That's what. If it's at night, if it's in the afternoon, whatever it is, I make sure whatever time we got to travel, I have an hour or so more, so I can go and and pay my respects.
Wow, that's amazing. And how long have you been doing that for? Do you remember which fight?
I've been doing it for a couple fights now, a bunch of fights now. I think so. Like, it really came like the last 3 fights is like I did it all the last 3 fights, but I was doing it here and there. And then the last 3 fights was like, look, this is what I want to do. It's just, like how some people got their favorite underwear, some people got their favorite mouthpieces. This is what my favorite thing to do. Pre-fight week.
By the way, are you doing anything with Nike? Because I noticed that you've been tweeting a lot about Nike shoes and whatnot.
Who knows? I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. But I can tell you this. Me and my boy Errolson. He's a Canadian boy, right? Acronym.
Who?
And that Errolson. He's a Acumen. He's the owner of Acumen and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah. So that guy's a cool dude. I love the stuff he do. I love his story too, and the way that he's so that guy is like the way he thinks and the way he does stuff is dope. So it's like you guys might be seeing some sick stuff coming through that. So other than that, but we see what happens.
Okay. Well, let's end on this, Max. And again, I appreciate. I know you've done a lot of media, and it's still Monday. So, 366 days ago, as you know, you beat Jose Aldo in Detroit. I saw you tweet about it. It was cool. Little Caesars Arena. What a night that was. I did my award show 2 weeks later, and I said my prediction for 2018 Fighter of the Year, Max Holloway. I thought you were going to go 3-0, 4-0. Of course, it didn't work out that way, but you can end the year on a very high note. How would you describe 2018 as you head into this fight? What has it been like for you this year? It's
been, like I said before, it's been a tough one, but it's not how you start the race, it's how you finish, and I know the world daddest dad, the daddest man on the planet, DC might be winning that one, but who knows, we can go out there and make a statement and see what happens, and it's just great, It's a rough year, but it's not how you start the race. It's definitely how you finish, and I just can't wait to finish. I'm glad we get to finish strong. I'm glad I get to do what I believe I was put on this earth to do and fight, and get to fight. Things happen for a reason, One door closes, another bigger door opens, and that's my approach to a lot of things. So, if you're going through hard times, guys, just keep pushing through. Keep pushing through. You're right there. Never ever. People always tend to stop when they're right there. Like they're about to break through, and then they're like, you know what, I'll just give up. And then they don't see the other side of it because they just stop there. Just keep pushing, keep striving, keep grinding, keep your head down, and keep working hard. Let all the success comes with it be the talk and the actions. You don't have to say that much. So I feel great, man. The year, it is what it is. That's just it. My favorite words. It is what it is. I can't wait to go out there and remind people. It stood. That award is stood up for the grabs. The world's baddest dad. That is dad. I'm coming, man. I'm coming. Tell him I'm coming.
And I give you a lot of props. I know when you were in Toronto doing the media, you talked about depression and some of the things that you had to deal with. That helps a lot of people when people who are that successful, like yourself, like Tyson Fury this past weekend, talk about overcoming these.
Tyson Fury's the man.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, and for sure, that depression stuff. Everybody just keep remember, like the only person that can get you out of that place is you. So remember, bless yourself, and do not get yourself out of there because it's not a great place to stay. And remember that reach out to people. People are there here. People love you, and you can get through tough times. Tough times don't last, but tough people do. So, stay strong, keep up the good fights, and keep going. We all human. We all humans. Even superheroes got to battle their own demons sometimes. So, hey, you're a superhero in your own. Whoever you are, whoever it is, whoever you're listening to, you're a superhero of your own and in your own little story. So, come out strong and keep up the good fight.
Well said, Max. You're the man. All the best to you. I hope the week goes very well for you. Best of luck on Saturday in Toronto. I hope the people of Canada continue to treat you with the love and respect that you deserve. And I look forward to seeing you out there in your adopted home country of the Great White North later on this week as well. Always appreciate talking to you, Max. Next week, perhaps a victory interview via Skype from the old Paw Patrol control center.
I give you that. I give. Actually, no. Actually, I might have to figure it out because we still be here. So. Sorry. Yeah, I'll let you know.
You're staying longer?
Maybe we figure something out. I thought we definitely text after this. I'll text you. But hey, thank you for all the love, man. Thank you for opening your guys' city to me, and thank you for making all the Canadians love me, Ariel. You're the man, man. I can't wait to see you fight week, and it's going to be a great one.
And Max,
stay safe.
Happy early birthday, my man.
Thank you, man. Thank you.
Big one coming up tomorrow, 27. All the best. Enjoy it.
Thank you. You have a great one.
All right, there he is. Max Holloway, 27, tomorrow, December 4th. I remembered when he won in Detroit, it was December 4th that he came on a Monday. So it just occurred to me that he is celebrating his 27th birthday tomorrow. Now, Max Holloway, Brian Ortega, we just heard from both of them. We've talked to Ioana Jędrzejczyk and Claudia Gadelha, and Valentina Shevchenko recently. They're in the co-main event fighting for the flyweight title, hopefully getting that division back on track. Now let us talk to, in my opinion, one of the other very intriguing fighters on this card, one of the very intriguing storylines of this card coming up on Saturday, which, by the way, is phenomenal. Top to bottom, it's one of the better offerings in recent memory as far as pay-per-view is concerned. On the main card, the return of Gunnar Nelson fighting against Alex Cowboy Oliveira. Gunnar Nelson joins us right now via the magic of Skype from Toronto as well. Gunnar, how are you?
I'm pretty good. I'm having a bit of a poor connection here at the hotel right now.
Oh, no.
But I'm doing good.
Can you hear me? Can you see me? How does it sound, or how does it look?
Yeah, I can hear you right now, but it breaks up sometimes.
Okay. We'll fight through it, and let me know if you can hear me, and then maybe we'll just call you on your phone. How about that?
Yeah, sound good.
Gunnar, I'm happy to see you back, and I know this is a big fight, and it's been a while since we've seen you. Last time you fought was July of last year, 2017, but I have to say, I can't get the picture that you tweeted a couple of days ago out of my mind. You look like a drastically different human being. How did this happen? I've never seen you that cut before. Where did this come from?
Well, we've been doing a new strength and conditioning program. We got a new coach, and it's like 3 times a week. We've been doing that for a good few months now. it's a lot like it's some of the CrossFit drills and stuff like that, but it's very specific for our needs. Doing a lot of the assault bike and some for the first time really I've been doing some weightlifting, so it's paid off.
Why did you feel the need to change things up like this?
Well, Gunnar, the conditioning coach, kind of approached me to set up some new sessions and stuff like that, and I've been doing like my conditioning on my own, really. The rowing and running and stuff like that, and I was just interested to start with the coach and see if that was something I liked, and we just really clicked, and he. I love his sessions. I love the way he sets them up. They make sense to me, and I feel fresh as well for the martial art training. So, yeah, I just really liked. It was just I just wanted to try it for the start, see if I'd like it, and I really got into it, and so it's a great addition to the camp.
You just said that this is the first time that you've done. Lifting before a fight, some heavy lifting,
yeah.
and clearly it has paid off just based off the picture. But as far as your actual fighting is concerned, how does this affect you?
What you mean, like weight wise?
Yeah, does it give you a new dimension? Do you feel stronger? Do you feel different when you're grappling, when you're sparring?
Yeah, I feel the way we set this up is like he tries to work on all the energy systems in your body. So basically what I feel is I've put on like not much, but a small bit of weight, but of quality muscle that's very I feel like my endurance is a lot better. My recovery is faster. I'm stronger. I just feel the best I've ever felt, to be honest.
Wow. And you haven't fought since July of 2017, as I said. You're overcoming a knee injury, right? That you said you were supposed to fight in May, then you suffered a knee injury. What exactly happened?
It was my meniscus. It was the same injury that I had on my right knee, 2013, I believe, but just on the left knee now, and it was just a pretty bad meniscus tear that had to be fixed if I were not to ruin the cartilage inside the knee, which is a really bad injury, I guess, and something that stays with you forever. So basically the doctor said to me after the MRI was that he asked me if I was going to keep competing for a few years, and I was like, yeah, of course. So he said, then we better get the surgery going on Monday. I'm like, shit, okay.
Oh, and so you have had to sit on that frustrating loss to Santiago Ponzinibbio for a year and a half now. I would imagine that makes this even tougher for you, right? Like you're not coming off a win here. You're coming off a very frustrating and somewhat controversial loss.
Yeah, it's in the past though for me. There's been I'm not really focusing on that, although I'd love to get that rematch, as you know. But I'm not really thinking about that, and there's more things in my past than that fight. So I'm ready for this next one, and I'm happy I got Alex Oliveira. I think he's a great fighter. He's a ranked fighter, and yeah, I'm just looking forward.
Just curious though, when you see Santiago now, especially recently doing very well, does it bother you at all to see him? He's had these fights and you've still haven't fought since then.
Yeah, to be honest, I don't mind. I believe I will get a rematch, and whatever he's doing well or bad, or it doesn't really concern me too much. I don't know if he's been poking too much lately or what the deal is with that. I haven't really been following him too closely, but yeah, it's I'm not focused on him.
Okay. And you mentioned Alex, and you mentioned being happy with this opponent, ranked opponent, and whatnot. I know you were trying to get an opponent. You know, there was some interest in Masvidal recently. Was it frustrating to get someone to sign up to fight you? Was that a long process in its own right? Like, could you have returned even sooner?
Yeah, could have. Yeah, definitely. We were in some. There was a talk for a while, but Masvidal was one name that came up. But like always, it takes time to find opponents and place, I guess. And it's almost before all my fights, it's been like that. So I'm quite used to it by now.
Are you a believer in the term cage rust? And do you think that it will take you a few minutes to feel comfortable again in the cage, given the layoff?
I think I'll be all right. I've taken layoffs before, so I don't think it'll be a problem.
Okay. And where did you train for this fight? Were you in Iceland?
Yes. This whole camp was back home. We had some great training partners over, and Luka Shelchik has moved to Iceland. He's been there now, training with us, and Matt Miller came over, and Daniele from Italy, and we had a few really good bodies, and of course the whole Viking crew. So it's been a really good camp, I think.
Do you still spend time from time to time at SBG in Ireland?
I didn't go there at all for this camp, but I'm definitely, like, when I'm going over there now, it's like for a few weeks, maybe 1 week, 2 weeks, something like that. But we're the same team, so.
Right. No, I know, because a lot of fans were asking me in the build-up to the Khabib-Conor fight why they didn't see you in any of the pictures or videos or things like that. You weren't there for that one, right?
No. Well, I was kind of recovering from the knee injury then for at least most of that camp.
Okay.
I couldn't really have joined that camp until maybe the last bit of it, But I part of me kind of regrets that. I wish I would have been there for that camp, but it is what it is.
Yeah. So we spoke to Brian Ortega, Max Holloway earlier, talking to them about the change in climate. Is it warmer in Toronto than it is back in Iceland? For them, coming from LA, coming from Hawaii, going to Toronto is a bit of a shock to the system. Is the climate the same, or is it actually warmer in Toronto than back home for you?
It's very much the same right now. It's maybe a little bit warmer, like just a few degrees warmer now, but it feels the same, to be honest.
Okay.
This time,
go ahead.
This time of year, it's.
Sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No, I said this time of year it's almost identical. The maybe it's a bit more humid here. I'm not sure, but the temperatures and the weather is very similar.
Now you have one child or two children back home?
Just one boy.
One boy. How's fatherhood treating you?
Good.
Yes, I see your boy getting very. How old is he now?
He's 4.5.
4.5. And training? Are you getting him on the mats?
Yeah, he wrestles a bit. He's gonna start the program in Mjolnir at 5. That's when we start the kids. But he's he wrestles me and Matt when he stays with me and stuff like that. He wrestles his friends as well. He's got a lot of energy. My mom always says that he's literally exactly the same as I was when we were young, so I serve him completely. She says, he never stopped, and a lot of energy.
Does he like to come to the gym with you and watch you and try to emulate you?
Yeah, he'll come down to the gym, and I'll be doing some, a little session, and he'll be, messing around. But he will copy some of the stuff, but then very quickly he goes off and does his own thing. He's all about doing his own thing.
Obviously, every fight is a big one. Every fight is the biggest fight of one's career. That's the cliche. But I'm just wondering, in your mind, and you're not really someone who gets too high or gets too low. You're usually pretty neutral. I'm just wondering if this one feels a little extra special in terms of trying to remind people of who you are and how good you are and your place in this division. Do you feel like you have a point to prove on Saturday?
Yeah, definitely. It's a very important fight, especially like you said. I'm coming off a loss and all that kind of stuff, but I treat it the same as I treat all the fights. To be honest, I'm just going in there to do my job and do it my way, and there's no you don't accept anything else than being the best version of yourself, and so whether there's like extra pressure because of certain situations, it doesn't really matter that much to me. I'm just going in there, and I'm gonna do things my way, every time.
Welcome back, Gunnar. Good to see you back. Great to see you in the shape that you're in. It's phenomenal stuff. Very much looking forward to your return on Saturday. Thanks as always for coming on the show.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. There he is, the one and only Gunnar Nelson, joining us from Toronto, Ontario, Canada, site of UFC 231. So again, it is a card filled with interesting fights. In my opinion, one of the best cards of the year. I really like this card a lot. I mean, those two title fights at the top, that is high-level stuff. And I know others have said it as well. I believe it was Joe Rogan who said that the main event is the highest level of MMA that we've ever seen. I think it was Joe. And it's a very strong statement. I think we've seen others that would compete with that one on Saturday in that regard as far as high-level stuff, the likes of John Jones versus Daniel Cormier, in my opinion, the first time that we've had number 1 versus number 2 pound for pound going head-to-head. But the whole card is great. The main card in particular, Alex Oliveira versus Gunnar Nelson, Hakeem Dawodu against Kyle Bochniak, Jimmy Manuel against Thiago Santos, Claudia Gadelha versus Nina Ansaroff, another great fight, important fight at flyweight, Caitlin Chookagian versus Jessica Ai, Eric Anders versus Elias Theodore, Olivia Aubin Mercier versus Gilbert Burns. There's just a lot there. So that's coming up. We'll talk more about that as we continue with the program. However, let us move along to our next guest. And you'll recall that 13 months ago, we spoke to Jake Hager, a.k.a. Jack Swagger, formerly of World Wrestling Entertainment, WWE superstar, came in studio to talk to us about his plans to transition over to mixed martial arts, former collegiate wrestler who now wanted to try his hand at MMA. Well, it has been 13 months, as I just said, and I have gotten questions from time to time as to when we are going to see Mr. Hager finally step foot in the Bellator cage, because you'll recall back then he said that he had signed with Bellator. Let us get an update from Jake Hager. He joins us right now via the magic of Skype, repping the Oklahoma Sooners. Jake, how are you?
I'm good, man. You know this Oklahoma looks good too, doesn't it?
It looks very good. It really pops on camera there, that color and the Jordan brand. I mean, it's all very good, and you're smiling, you're happy, you seem to be in a great place. How are things?
Things are great, man. Right in the middle of two-a-days, a lot of hard training right now. It's a lot of fun.
Okay, so like I said, I spoke to you 13 months ago in studio when you announced your intentions to come to MMA, to come to Bellator. It's been a long journey to get to this point. Where are we at? When are you going to debut?
Here we go. January 26th on the heavyweight Grand Prix final card. Jake Hager will debut for the Bellator MMA. Woo!
Wow, so it's official. You will debut January 26th, the Forum, Inglewood.
Yes, sir.
Do you have an opponent?
Yes, sir.
Who is that man?
I'm really making you force it out of me, aren't I?
I like it. I like it.
J.W. Kaiser taking on, I think he's 1-1. He fought this past weekend on the Bellator card and won. So looking to come out and show that I belong here. And you will be competing as a heavyweight, correct? Yes, heavyweight. I'm about 295, 305 right now, so I got to cut some weight, but we'll get down there. Will you be on the main card? Yes, sir. Okay, and why has it taken so long? So it will be
it'll be around 14 months or so since you spoke to me. Why has it, or was that always the plan to take a year to prepare?
You know what? It's been an incredible year. I have stayed very busy with pro wrestling, so I've really been doing that every weekend. That's paying the bills right now. And when I come home, I'm hitting the gym. I'm getting in with the coaches and the teammates, and we've been training hard during the week. So at first, we were going to say that we wanted to fight 2 times in 2018, but like I said, with the schedule, we just figured let's go with one, and we pushed it back to a time when I know I'll be ready and in good shape, and it fits great with everyone's schedule. And what a great place, the biggest card of the year. So I think it worked out really well.
And where are you training out of?
I got a coach for every discipline. I got my own camp here in Tampa. Ybor City Jiu-Jitsu has been a great help. Josh Rafferty, Coach Rob Radford, helping with the hands, strength and conditioning, kickboxing. Joey Best, Chris Reed, guys like that really been transformed me from a wrestler into a jiu-jitsu powerhouse. So
what's your typical week like? If you're wrestling, and we're talking about like pro wrestling here, your profession that everyone sort of knows you from. You're doing that on the weekend, and then Monday through Friday you're doing MMA training, or what is it like?
Yep. So typically, pro wrestling have their shows Friday to Saturday, maybe Sunday if it's a bigger one. If not, I'll travel home on Sunday. Usually rest then, and then Monday through Thursday, we'll do about 7 practices in that time frame. So about 3 days of 2-a-days, maybe one hard day of sparring in there, and then Friday's kind of like a recovery, strength and conditioning type deal. Really, it's been a very challenging aspect managing both schedules with the pro wrestling and training for a brand new sport that I'm trying to enter in at a professional level. But Josh Rafferty, man, he's been great. He understands both worlds very well and has really helped me make the transition smoothly.
So once you actually debut and your career is underway in mixed martial arts, are you going to stop with the pro wrestling?
I'm very excited about where my career can go in MMA. I think I can make a statement here, and I think this could become a takeover as far as paying the bills for the next couple years while the window for me to do this is still open. I think my career is going to be a lot longer than most people are going to imagine. In
mixed martial arts?
In mixed martial arts, yes.
How long do you expect it to last right now?
Well, I guess it's as long as I can keep my hands up, amongst other things. But I'm training for this not as one fight, not as 2 fights, but this is going to be, the next stage of my career. I left the WWE because I wanted to compete. Bellator has been great, giving me a great stage to compete at, and I'm ready to prove a lot of things.
And I don't mean to ask the question again, but I'm just curious, will you pause the pro wrestling once you start MMA, or can you do both?
Well, I mean, the thinking is one hand helps the other.
Okay.
So, I'm definitely going to continue. I already have pro wrestling dates booked for 2019. So I'm going to continue to make certain dates. And then, depending on how everything goes, I'd like to definitely take more fights in 2019.
You mentioned sparring. What is it like getting punched in the face?
It sucks. Yeah, that's been a lot of fun, learning not only how to take punches, but like to continue through with your motion and your, what you already begun while out there. Otherwise, you're just going to be a big block of meat for somebody. But it's been exciting. I've been told I got big, heavy hands, so I guess I got that going for me.
Yeah. Was it weird at first? Like, because, you're so used to wrestling and amateur wrestling, coming up through the ranks, collegiate wrestling, and all of a sudden you have to reprogram your brain a little bit, right?
Yeah, maybe for most people, but I'm not most people, so I feel like I made the transition faster than most. I've had a lot of great one-on-one coaching during this year. Really got to focus on me and me alone and my problems. But it's been a lot of fun learning the new disciplines. You can just see the immense work it takes to be, a top-level boxer, a top-level striker, a top-level jiu-jitsu. Just work and work and work. But at the same time, you're working towards something, and it's really exciting. And it's a great time to be a professional fighter.
Has there been any surprises, anything you didn't expect when you started this journey?
There's been peaks and valleys along with anything along the way. Definitely been a roller coaster. Definitely been weeks where everything wasn't clicking, and you sit back and you're like, okay, what do I do? You can't stop this journey, so you get back in there and get working. As far as any big surprises, I don't think so. I feel like my coaches and my teammates know me very well, so they've done a great job of helping me prepare for the training that's coming up and the training that we've done.
Has there been any point where you thought, you know what, I don't really like this. This is kind of silly. Let me just go back to the wrestling thing?
Oh yeah. There's been points like that, but I've been told by a lot of people, if your team, if your coaches aren't putting you through training like that, then you're not doing it right. So there's definitely been points where I hate my coaches, I hate my teammates, and I'm just like grumpy and tired and exhausted. But I really feel the difference in where I'm at now than I was 14 months ago when I was on here, and there's no doubt you're going to see it. It's going to be really exciting.
And I would imagine the next month and a half is going to be a mix of grumpiness and also, satisfaction, because now the real training camp starts, right?
Yep. So we're going to start now. I have one more pro wrestling show to do on December 8th, and then I'll be full-time camp. We'll get all the guys coming into Tampa. I'll even go up to Cincinnati for a couple weeks for Rob Bradford. He's been, he's Bruce Lee, man. He's really tuning me up, and it's been great working with those guys. I can't say enough about it. And then my wife has been great with the recovery, helping me stretch, helping me do the Pilates, and really focus on that, which at my age I need.
How old are you?
I'm 36 years young, baby.
Yes. Well, you don't look a day younger than at least 35. 35, you look phenomenal.
I'd look a lot older today if Oklahoma didn't make the playoffs. I'd be all gray-haired and stressed out.
Did they announce that yet?
Yeah, they announced it yesterday.
Oh.
We're playing Bama.
Oh.
But who'd they ever beat?
Yeah, exactly. Good luck with that one. So since we spoke, CM Punk fought again, and he lost. Didn't go very well. And I feel like at this point, MMA fans kind of roll their eyes at the idea of a pro wrestling guy coming over because of that experience and other experiences. Do you feel extra pressure to try to change the narrative here?
No, I have nothing to prove. I'm doing this for myself and my family. What everyone else thinks is regardless to me. I know I belong, and you're going to see that I do when I step in the cage. So you got about 50-some days to talk about I don't belong, and then after that, the talk's going to be over.
Did you get a lot of that, especially since it's been so long since the announcement, like, oh, you're never going to fight, that was all PR, that was just getting attention? Do you get a lot of that?
I've been getting a lot lately towards the third and fourth quarters, like when's the announcement going to be? When's the announcement going to be? Because at first we talked about April, May, doing the first one. But not a lot. Mostly all my fans, it's been great support everywhere I go. They're like, can't wait to see me in there, and really excited to watch the fight.
And what was the process like to get your first opponent? Did you have a say in any of that?
It's above my pay grade. I trust my team. I trust my coaches. They know what type of fighter I am, and they can make that decision. Okay.
And, of course, your great manager, Danny Rubenstein.
My great manager, Danny Rubenstein, who went to
Oklahoma, Oklahoma University. And would it be fair to say to expect a lot of wrestling when you get in there, given your background at Oklahoma? Are you going to stick to your bread and butter early on?
I mean, it's what got me to the dance. It's what I know best. It's what I'm going to rely on when it's crunch time. When you're in the pocket and the punches are coming at you, my body's just going to naturally resort back to that. And I think today in MMA, you see wrestlers doing what wrestlers should have done from the beginning, is taking people down and controlling them and not letting them back up. So that's definitely going to be in there and not going away from it.
You ask Brock Lesnar for any advice? You guys tight at all?
No, I don't have his phone number. I've talked with Bobby Lashley a little bit. I've talked with King Mo a lot. He's been great, man. Hooked me up with people and, things like that. So everyone that I come across has been very eager to help. It's been nice. It's been really, really nice, actually.
Yeah, I don't think Brock has a phone. I don't know if he knows how to use a cell phone, so I wouldn't take it personally.
Name answer when you call him.
Yeah, maybe. I wouldn't be surprised. He doesn't. I don't know. I just can't picture Brock with a cell phone. Or if he does have a cell phone, I feel like he has like one of those old school flip phones. You know what I mean? And he's just like, hello. Well, I'm excited that this is actually happening. I'm excited it's a thing, and I'm very appreciative that you'd come back and let the world know. So January 26th, Inglewood, California, the debut, the long anticipated. Much anticipated, long-awaited debut of one Jake Hager. And we're going with Jake Hager, right?
Until other filings happen, yes.
Oh, what do you mean? What do we got? What's in the works?
What? I'm going through a tunnel now. I can't hear you very well.
Wow. Interesting. Okay. This is interesting. Could it be done in time for the fight? Wow.
What are we talking about here?
Okay. And tell me the opponent again, because I'm not familiar with this individual.
John Wayne Kaiser, Kiser.
Wow. Okay. So John Wayne. I mean, anyone who's named John Wayne has got to be a pretty tough guy. So you got your hands full.
It's a great thing about MMA. We're going to find out.
I look forward to it. Best of luck to you in the final weeks. Again, thank you so much for coming on the show and giving us an update. Looking forward to talking to you about it when it's all said and done.
Thank you, my friend. Talk to you soon.
All right, there he is, Jake Hager, a.k.a. Jack Swagger. Will they call him Jack Swagger when he's in the cage, alluding to something of that nature? But then he said he couldn't hear us anymore. Well, we do know, January 26th, Bellator at the Forum, Inglewood, California, to be exact. And what a night that is turning out to be. In particular, in Southern California, Bellator having their event, Fyodor Emelianenko against Ryan Bader in the main event, and UFC with UFC 233 that same night in Anaheim at the Honda Center. As of right now, it's Henry Cejudo versus TJ Dillashaw. That was officially announced just a few days ago for the flyweight title, happening on the same night in the same state, just a few miles from each other. And they've tried to do this before for UFC 208, but you will recall that the UFC ended up canceling that card and they moved it to Brooklyn. Bellator ended up keeping the date. They were back-to-back or on the same night, same time frame this year. Bellator was in Inglewood, UFC was in Boston. I don't love when they're on at the same time. And I'm curious to see how it goes in terms of ticket sales and who decides to go where. Because if you don't know, Anaheim and Inglewood, they're very close to each other. I mean, just a few miles. I know in Southern California, just a few miles can take a while, but pretty darn close. I don't like it as a viewer. I think it's kind of fun when you're flipping back and forth and things work out and you can, watch one while the other one's on a commercial break. But typically, I'd rather them be on separate nights. I always feel like that's better for the sport in general. It's fun from time to time. It reminds me of the old Monday Night Wars. But for the most part, I like when they're separate. All right. Matter of seconds, we're going to talk about a fight that happened in Southern California, not at the Forum, but at the Staples Center over this past weekend. We don't always talk about boxing on this show, but I feel like the entire sports world was transfixed on Saturday night as Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury fought in one of the most anticipated heavyweight title fights in recent memory. It was on Showtime. It was a dramatic fight. It lived up to the hype. The build-up was phenomenal. It was entertaining. So many layers to this fight. And they ended up going toe-to-toe for 12 rounds. Went to the scorecards. It ended up being a draw, a split decision draw. And it was somewhat controversial because I think a lot of people thought Tyson Fury won. As I said at the top, I don't hate the scorecards. I don't love the one scorecard that was heavily in favor for Deontay Wilder. But the moment that everyone is talking about happened in the 12th round with around 2 minutes to go. Deontay Wilder dropping Tyson Fury for the second time, and it looked like Fury was out. It looked like he was out cold. Knocked down, head bounces off the canvas, just laying there. And I think everyone thought he was out. And then like a phoenix rising from the ashes, he just stands up and gets right back to it. And ends up finishing the round and even got a few good shots in. It was incredible. It was theater at its finest. It was amazing. It was everything that we love about combat sports. Everything we love about the drama of boxing. And it was fascinating reading Twitter while it was all happening because the UFC was on, Mark Hunt was fighting, Shogun against Tyson Pedro. What a performance from Shogun, turning back the clock. Every time we think Shogun is done, he pulls out a performance like that. Tai Tuivasa and Junior Dos Santos. All this is happening, and it felt like the MMA community was transfixed on the boxing match. That's very rare. But it felt like for that 45-minute stretch, including the entertaining, walkouts and all the hoopla, everyone was talking about boxing. So I know sometimes you guys get upset when we talk about boxing here, but it feels like everyone was talking about boxing on Saturday, and on this Monday, everyone is still talking about boxing, and in particular, what happened Saturday night at the Staples Center. One man in particular who had the call, one man in particular who had the best seat in the house, who was phenomenal in that 12th round in particular. It is always a pleasure, it is always an honor to talk to the bipolar rock and roller. It has been a few months, but it is so great to have him back on the program. Let's go now to the phone lines and talk to the one and only, the incomparable Mauro Ranallo. How are you, Mauro?
Happy Hanukkah. Happy Hanukkah, my friend.
Thank you, Mauro. It is a pleasure, as always, to hear from you, and congratulations on another great night, another banner night for you and the team. What a great show that was from top to bottom. The whole broadcast was phenomenal. It was incredibly entertaining. That 12th round was amazing. The whole fight was amazing. But I want to start with this, Mauro. For you, was this a different kind of fight? Did this feel a little different? Was it a little more personal because of everything that you've talked about in your own personal life this year and everything that Tyson Fury has talked about with his own battles, his own trials and tribulations, mental health? Did you feel a different connection to this fight at all?
Not really, because once that bell goes, Ariel, as you've known, pride myself on just being the best professional that I can be. But the fact that Tyson Fury did what he did in that fight, and especially in that 12th and final round, and I talked about it after the broadcast, that was a metaphor for what this man has been through, literally out. I thought the fight was over. Deontay Wilder thought the fight was over. 95% of the people thought the fight was over. The unsung hero in all of this is referee Jack Reese, who gave Tyson Fury an opportunity to perform yet another miracle. I know people have compared it to The Undertaker, the iconic WWE character whom I had a chance to text with after the fight, and he was as blown away by what happened as anyone else. But in terms of the connection I have with Tyson Fury as a human being, I try to put that to the side because, again, Deontay Wilder's also in there fighting for his life and is inspiring in many ways for what he has done for his family. The reason he got into boxing at the age of 19 after pursuing a career as an athlete, as a football player and a basketball player with aspirations of playing at his beloved, University of Alabama. There were two people with inspiring stories in there. But the fact that Tyson Fury was able to do what he has done in this short period of time, it's been well documented, well chronicled, and yet it cannot be overstated. I've been, blessed to be involved with the biggest moments in combat sports. And going into the introduction area, you mentioned Mauricio Shogun Rua. You mentioned people getting angry with you, maybe at times bringing in boxing. Ariel, when you were first, when you were young and I was doing Fight Network Radio, I remember when I wanted to bring in boxing, MMA, professional wrestling, everything that I was covering, people were like, oh, that's not going to work. You're going to alienate everyone. Here we are in 2018, and my friend, we are covering everything because combat sports is connected, whether people want to believe it or not. It's all about the stories. It's all about the characters, and there is a sense of kinship. So I'm glad that the MMA community and the mixed martial arts media jumped on top of this, because the heavyweight division has been much maligned, deservedly so, after being held hostage for the two-headed, for a decade with the two-headed Klitschko monster, not taking anything away from Vladimir or Klitschko. And in fact, Saturday night at the Staples Center, the biggest heavyweight title fight in Los Angeles at Staples since Lennox Lewis, a swan song. And so I was just so thrilled to be ringside to see this incredible drama unfolding before us. I know, again, as always, lots of debate, lots of controversy regarding the outcome. The majority of people that I have talked to feel Tyson Fury should have been awarded the victory. And yet I want to look at the bigger picture because, as you mentioned, Ariel, here we are talking about boxing, but not just boxing, heavyweights, and not just heavyweights, but two heavyweights in the respective primes. And for Wilder to continue to show that he has that destructive power right until the final moments of a fight is as impressive as anything. But yes, I know people will want to debate and malign the judging, and I'm with them. But what are we going to do about it, Ariel? You mentioned, Shogun Rua, and I go back to the pride criteria of scoring, where damage was always number one. The entirety of the fight was scored, and yet in society now people are like, well, we saw what happened with Adonis Stevenson in the fight earlier. He's in hospital, unstable condition now, thankfully, but we know what we get into in this sport, especially combat sports. These athletes are putting their lives on the line, and as a society, if we choose to support it, then we have to live with the results. And on Saturday night, I just think it was a banner night for the entire sport of boxing. We could go into the negative, but I am wanting to stay positive because I've never seen a comeback like Tyson Fury, not only in life, but what he was able to do in that 12th and final round. I don't care if you're spiritual, and I don't care if you're religious. There had to be divine intervention in that moment because I thought Fury was out like a light.
God, I can listen to you talk about all of this. I could just close my eyes. I wish you gave me a 25-minute answer so I didn't have to interrupt and ask you anything else.
I always give you those 25-minute answers. You know me.
Oh, it's just beautiful. You're focused on a lot, and there's a lot going on, but I feel like I'd be remiss if I don't ask, do you think Tyson won? Like, is there a part of you that's scoring this? Did you watch it after the fact?
Sure. I'm, as you know, and there are some announcers, a legendary Hall of Famer, Barry Tompkins, always gives his scores on Showbox, and I appreciate everyone's insight. For me, I'm a storyteller. I'm the play-by-play announcer supposed to paint a picture of what we're seeing, hopefully capture some of that drama, and honestly, one of the reasons I believe I do stand out, whether positively or negatively, is at the end of the day, I'm a fan. And I want to capture the emotion that I hope you are feeling on your couch, in your car, on the beach, wherever you may be watching. So I did not score the fight, but I've got the best of the best around me, and Al Bernstein and Paulie Malignaggi and Steve Farhood. And Steve Farhood, to me, the best non-judge in the business. He had it 115, 111 for Tyson Fury. It all comes down to those first 5 rounds where not a lot was happening, and yet Tyson Fury wasn't doing what we expected Tyson Fury to do. Yes, he engaged in some of the mind games and histrionics, putting his hands behind him, a la Roy Jones Jr., like he did to bamboozle Vladimir Klitschko. But there wasn't a lot of clean, effective punching. And when you look at boxing criteria, that's number one. Still, ring generalship is part of it. Defense is part of it. And Deontay Wilder admitted he was rushing his punches. He was trying to land that knockout and pushing it too soon. So in terms of the flow, in terms of the story of the fight, I thought that, Tyson Fury was probably ahead. And then, of course, came the 9th round where he was knocked down, came up and stormed back. Here we are continuing to bury the headlines, is that Ariel, he was out on his back, his eyes closed. Referee Jack Reese, and again, not enough can be said. We criticize referees and judges, and in this case, there's one judge in particular that I'm not even going to name who did give it by a high score to Wilder that probably shouldn't judge another fight until he is held accountable. But in that instance, Jack Reese could have waved off the fight, and no one would have complained. No one would have said a word, and yet it's like my brother's here from Canada, a Vancouver police officer. We talked about it. As a police officer, you're given that split second where, you pull that trigger and you better know it's the bad guy or the person that's putting other people's lives in danger. In this moment, Jack Reese allowed Tyson Fury to perform this miracle. And so, again, I want to give all the respect in the world to Jack Reese, but then Tyson Fury to not only get up. And have you mentioned, by the way, that Deontay Wilder, the most destructive puncher in the sport, landed the right, landed the left hook, and yet Fury, in many ways, came back to take the 12th and final round as well. These are two heavyweights, by the way, in their primes. People were questioning, as I was, Fury ballooned up to 400 pounds after reaching the apex of the sport. He buried his nose in a mountain of cocaine a la Scarface. He was downing 18 to 19 pints of beer a night, and he was driving his Ferrari at 190 miles an hour looking to end his life. Yes, I'm getting emotional now because this, we live in a world where there is so much negativity, and we are all flawed. We all have our idiosyncrasies. And yes, Tyson Fury said some things at the beginning of his spiral that are disgusting and cringeworthy and the homophobic, anti-Semitic, misogynistic stuff. And I'm not, by the way, allowing him to get away with that. As I think Pete Davidson said it best on an SNL episode recently. Just because you're mentally ill doesn't give you the right to be a jackass. But in the same sense, Ariel, none of us are perfect, and yes, he should be held accountable for that, but at the same time, look what he has done to put his life back on track and to willingly take all of the suffering of those of us with mental health on his back. Ariel, you allowed me a platform earlier this year to talk about my life, and Bipolar Rock and Roller, the documentary, and this is not a plug, and I'm not doing this to try to take away from Tyson's Fury thunder. I'm using this as an example to tell you how much more respected Fury should be. The amount of feedback that I've received by the documentary, the amount of people who have said just by watching it that they have saved their life, has allowed them to get help or allowed them to understand a loved one's sickness. I'm a talking head. I'm just an announcer from Abbotsford, British Columbia. Tyson Fury is a 6'9", 255-pound alpha male who was the lineal and still is the lineal heavyweight champion of the world. And for him to speak about his struggles, that is smashing the stigma once and for all. And so Saturday night, I can't think of a better night for the sport of boxing in a long time, despite the draw. And I know the media, as jaded and cynical as we all are, that will be debated. And Tyson Fury has a right to complain. And maybe there should be an investigation, especially into the judge. But at the end of the day, my friends, win, lose, or draw, I hope we get the automatic rematch, and let's celebrate these two athletes, what they gave us. The second tallest heavyweight title fight in history next to Nikolai Valuev, Jamil McCline. Everyone has already long forgotten about that fight. I don't think we will forget Saturday, December 1st, 2018 for a very long time.
In terms of atmosphere, Mauro, you were just at Staples Center calling that NXT show. What is it like? How can you compare because sitting at home watching boxing, it felt, there's nothing like a heavyweight title fight, as you know. It's just different. The celebs are out. It's LA. The anticipation, the walkout, it was all just magical. For you as a broadcaster, what was the difference? How do you compare it?
Do you see why there is a reason, Ariel, that maybe I get manic when talking to you and maybe when I get my job? Look at the overstimulation that I get as a professional. 2 weeks apart, and I got to say this, and I want to take my hats off to everyone involved in NXT. I got to say, for me, NXT takeover events are always a heavyweight championship, big heavyweight championship fight atmosphere. And kudos to Paul Levesque, a.k.a. Triple H, and all of the incredible coaches. We have the Heartbreak Kid, Shawn Michaels, helping out NXT on a daily basis, my friend. To me, NXT is unlike anything I've ever experienced because pro wrestling is my first love. And yes, people have said, we need you back on SmackDown or we're Raw. You got to be on the main roster. Guys, NXT is the gold standard in sports entertainment. NXT has delivered some of the highest quality professional wrestling that I have seen in many years on a consistent and regular basis. So being at the Staples Center, and believe me, you know, my friend, maybe they don't always talk about it out loud, but there are a lot of closet pro wrestling fans that come out with the big show. So a lot of celebrities there, but this past Saturday, because of where the heavyweight division has been, because of where boxing continues to take that huge step forward, but then or even 2 steps, but take maybe a big step backwards. I want to celebrate what we witnessed because it's, and again, unlike sports entertainment or pro wrestling, boxing, we all want to romanticize and lionize the days of, Ali and Joe Louis, and going way back, there's this incredible history with boxing. There's a reason that Creed 2 is dominating the box office. Boxing is cinematic in its scope. And on Saturday, we witnessed a soap opera. The high drama, DRAWAMA, it's there. But nothing beats being ringside for a heavyweight fight. And by the way, Ariel, in the last couple of years, I've been in front of 90,000 people at Wembley Stadium for Anthony Joshua and Vladimir Klitschko. While it was Fury that shocked the heavyweight division by dethroning Klitschko, we saw Joshua and Klitschko elevate the heavyweight division. We saw Deontay Wilder answer all the questions asked of him in his come-from-behind knockout win of Luis Ortiz, who we saw return to victory on Saturday. But then, this past Saturday night, we saw Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury. Yes, debate the result all you want. It is a huge victory, in my eyes anyway, for the sport of boxing, and I just hope I get to call the rematch as soon as possible.
As you mentioned, your documentary is must-see. I've told all my family members to watch it. They all loved it. They cried like I did. It's just, it's absolutely riveting. And if anyone hasn't seen it, I feel like most people who are watching or listening to this have. But if you haven't, it's on Showtime On Demand. You can get it in a million different places. It's called Bipolar Rock and Roller. And one of the things that has stayed with me after watching that, Mauro, is you after one of the big fights in your hotel room being unhappy with your performance and sort of playing things back in your mind. While everyone is glowing about your performance, you're your biggest critic. I thought you were phenomenal on Saturday. I in particular loved, one could deem it a mistake, but you were just reacting to what was happening in front of you. Fury out, you said Wilder did it, and then all of a sudden he didn't do it and Fury's up. I'm just curious, you went back home on Saturday. Were you happy with your performance? Were you proud of what you did out there?
Never. I made mistakes galore, and even in that moment, I don't hold myself too accountable because, again, I think I want to go 99.9% of the people thought that. The only person who didn't think it was over was Tyson Fury. I'm pretty sure of it. So I will say this. Releasing the documentary has proven to be more cathartic for me than I thought, because having shown everything to the world, I somehow now do not actually, how do I say this? The world's treating me different, and I want the world to treat everyone with mental health issues different. I've noticed a change in all of my colleagues and my family, friends, and not saying they weren't supportive before, because I wouldn't be here right now without everyone's support, including yours. But I feel like I've been given a superpower. I have people constantly coming up to me, telling me how I've impacted them, strangers, nothing to do with my fight career. And I have to say this. Spending time with Tyson Fury and knowing what Tyson Fury's done, knowing what Kevin Love, DeMar DeRozan are doing, knowing what Hollywood is now doing, knowing what we are all doing, to be a part of letting this genie out of the bottle, a genie that had been stigmatized and stuffed into that bottle as deep as you could get it. I feel more pleased now with being a human being that is allowing myself to discuss mental health issues openly, that while I do care and care a lot about my career, I don't feel the same way anymore, because immediately after the fights, I'm back to just being the mental health advocate I want to be, and being a part of that special night with a guy like Tyson Fury, who I do not even want to, I have to say this. Muhammad Ali was reviled for a long time, guys. Was a draft dodger. Yeah, we know the issues of Muhammad Ali. Was away for 3 years and transcended the sport, and obviously has done so much for humanity and human. In many ways, Tyson Fury, and again, this is where the comparison ends. I'm just saying Tyson Fury's personality. He was singing at the press conference. Being a gypsy traveler, they are persecuted in the UK, and representing minority, representing the oppressed, representing what people don't understand, and then coming forward with his mental health issues. In many ways, Tyson Fury is going to be the Ali of mental health, and I truly believe that, and I hope he continues to just grow, because people were worried even after the draw, and I know he was pissed off. what's his? Is he going to go back into the abyss, or is he going to suffer a breakdown? I believe the world is supporting him, and I believe he is on the right path. So the more we talk about it, the more we normalize it, the more we're going to help each other stay alive, my friends. And boy, what a great feeling heading into the holiday season.
Your Instagram page, Mauro, has become a must-follow. If anyone hasn't followed you yet, at Mauro Ranallo. You used to call me the Titan of Twitter back in the day.
Woo! Still are.
You're I know it's not the same, but I'm thinking this off the top. You're the Ayatollah of Instagram. I can't think of a better one off the top. But something like that, because there's two things I want to point out. You playing the keyboard is really cathartic. I watch it over and over again on a loop. It's amazing. I showed it to my wife. We were just marveling, and I know you do a lot of this just, off the top of your head. You're not reading any notes or anything like that. But then last week, you also post this footage of you versus Coconut Willie from 30 years ago, wrestling, taking bumps like a champ as a teenager. This is incredible stuff, Mauro. Should we expect more of this? Is this what you have in store for us on your Instagram page? It's incredible.
Well, I appreciate it, Ariel. And honestly, it is something that I've been wanting to share with the world for a long time because, as you know, Ariel, too, and this is why I'm glad, Ariel, you could cover any sport, my man. You could do Oprah-type interviews. The same with me. Like, in this world, I know everything is niche, and you got to stay in your lane. Who says you have to stay in your lane, man? We're all multifaceted. I hope multi-gifted people. For me, professional wrestling was my first love. I was discovered at 16 by Al Tomko, and I was holding wrestling matches with my brothers like everybody else in their basements. I wanted to be the pro wrestling champion. Of course I did. Well, athletics and everything else really weren't on my side, but to have the opportunity to step into the ring, no training, and to be given that chance to work with, Coconut Willie, Cowboy Lang. I know back in the 80s, remember, it's 1988, political correctness running amok. It was labeled, a midget, and that's not the correct term, little person. And I know some people, they say, well, what the heck is that? Where we've moved so far. This is 1988, and this was a huge deal for me. And honestly, the best compliment I think I've ever received in my life was after that match, Cowboy Lang, who had performed at Madison Square Garden, by the way, rest in power. He's no longer with us, but he went to Al Tomko, who, promoters don't always watch the show. They're just counting the money and going over what needs to be done. Cowboy Lang is ranting and raving like a madman going to the dressing room, using language I can't use right now. And Al Tomko thought, oh, my God, I shouldn't have let the kid in the ring. What happened? Was it a disaster? Cowboy Lang says, if this guy was 25 pounds of muscle, a little taller, Al, he would be one of your all-time greats. And people have seen it. And some of the biggest compliments I've received are from legends in this business saying, Mauro, you were an incredible bump taker and an incredible heel promo.
Yes.
People don't realize, Ariel, I had an opportunity at a young age to become a pro wrestling manager, like with my heroes Paul Heyman and Jim Cornette and Jimmy Melton, the South Hart, who were peers of mine at the time, although they were at a much higher level. But people don't realize I was on nationwide TV for 3 years as a teenager honing these skills. So for me to now share it with the world, it just shows another wrinkle. And the music, that's what it is, brother. I'm trying to help people understand I'm never going to be Elton John. I'm never going to be a pop star. But I love music. I've been blessed with a gift with the ear. I don't read music. I can figure out chords. And I just play to my heart's content. And Instagram is perfect because it's 60 seconds. So just enough to get it out there. But the response I've even received to that, it is humbling, sir. Like, I feel like I'm truly, truly blessed now as a human being, and while it's a daily struggle, my friend, and I will always have these struggles, as long as I have people like you and others that allow me to just share my thoughts and to help people. The more we talk about it, the more we're going to save society and in general, because then people will be able to go and get help, and people who don't understand will be able to understand more. But we need more resources. We need the medical community to smarten up, and we need all of humanity to smarten out. World Health Organization has called mental health illness the humanitarian crisis of our time. We all know someone who we've lost, whether it be by suicide or accidentally overdosing on pain pills. And that, again, we could go on and on. I am looking at the clock, sir. See, I'm mindful now, my friend. I know you've got other guests on your tremendous show. So all I want to say, Ariel, is please keep fighting the good fight, everybody. We're going to smash the stigma of mental health and Tyson Fury on Saturday night. If that doesn't inspire you, regardless of your thoughts about mental health, then I don't know what will. And kudos to both Fury and Wilder. And, yeah, let everyone debate the draw. I'm going to celebrate being a part of history on Saturday night.
Mauro, I love you. I truly love you.
I love you, my man. Love you, and I'm so proud of you, by the way. Congratulations. Like I say, dude, you were with, it was John Pollock found you doing your JerryPark.com. I heard the interview with Kurt Angle. I'm like, yeah, he's Canadian. He's a hard worker. He already is good. I want to give this guy some love and some support, and here you are, brother. And you know what? Hey, by the way, I'm going to probably be jumping back into the game myself next year with Boss Room again, and just and you know what it is? It's not even about. How do you say it, sir? I don't care about, well, we care about the success, of course. I'm doing this because this is what I do. When I have idle time, when I have too much time on my own, I get inside my head. Now here I am in Santa Monica where I'm at the beach every day, and that's another reason I had the courage to play the piano. So, I just want to keep living the best life, my friend, and I hope to just continue to tell these amazing stories in combat sports.
One of the best things to happen to me this year is us reconnecting and having a good cry together a few months ago. I loved it. I've watched it over and over again. My admiration for you is through the roof, Mauro, and it is such a pleasure when I get to watch these fights and hear your voice. It's like, wow, that's my friend Mauro getting to call the biggest fights the world is watching, and you continue to raise the bar. Another phenomenal night for you. I know you're on a road trip with your brother. By the way, great eye on his part, seeing the great Ibrahimovic over the weekend as well, taking a picture. I mean, everything's going great for the Ranallos. I know you're on a road trip right now, so I don't want to take up any more of your time. Thank you so much for carving out some time. Again, congrats to you and the Showtime team, a phenomenal group of people for what you did on Saturday. And thanks, as always, for coming on the program and talking to us. It's always an honor, Mauro.
Ariel, one old school comment left. Before there was John Jones at 23, there was Mauricio Shogun Hua at 23 running through the Pride Grand Prix. And for him to do what he did Saturday night, I will leave you with 3 words, my man, and you know what they are. Pride never die. Thank you, Ariel. Happy Hanukkah, my brother.
Same to you. All the best. Amen. Amen to that. What an amazing human being. There is only one Mauro Ranallo. There will never be another one. It is always so great to talk to him. He is mesmerizing. I can close my eyes and listen to him. I love talking to that man. Great performance, great call on Saturday. Look forward to many more in 2019. Okay, let us move along. About to be joined in studio by another man who I love, Christopher J. Weidman, coming off his fight just a couple of weeks ago at Madison Square Garden. I've wanted to talk to him. I'm happy that he's going to be joining us in studio in a matter of moments. Long Island's own Baldwin, New York. He's in New York doing all kinds of important things. Jake in the back over there, another one of Long Island's own, product of Syosset, I do believe, is Giddy back there. I heard that he's asking for photos and autographs and all those things and more. But here he is, in the flesh, my guy,
oh my gosh,
wearing a fanny pack,
this is amazing.
Flanked by the great Jim Walter.
Wow, this is a big room you got here. This is amazing. Congratulations.
Jim, how are you?
Good
to see you. Please have a seat. I do believe you're right over there. You know, this is the first time that we actually have a guest sitting next to his photo.
That's amazing, man.
Please have a seat. We're live right now, Chris.
Thank you.
I don't know
What's
if you
up,
know
everybody?
this. Look
Hello.
at you. Wow. In the flesh.
What's up, man? How
It's
you
good
doing?
to see you. How are things?
Everything's good. How are you?
I'm good. I like the fanny. What do we got there?
Thank you, man. I've been rocking it for a while.
You
This
have?
is about maybe 2 years in and out, but I've been staying
It's
strong.
very 1980s WWE pro wrestler of you.
Yeah, if you get through like people insulting you for first couple
screw those
times
people.
you wear it, and you stay strong. It's actually pretty good. It's handy. I lost my wallet way too many times.
Do me a
In
favor.
fact, I've lost my
Come a
wallet
little
recently
closer to
again.
me here. Yeah, see you
What do you want me to do?
No, I just want you to be. No, come a little closer. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
there you go. You see?
All right.
Yeah.
Am I good now?
Yeah. Look at that. Look right next to the photo of you, on
There we
your left.
I love this. This is a great spot.
You lost your wallet recently?
Yeah. So what's Ralph Breaks the Internet?
Yes.
Yeah. So the last time I lost my wallet was in the movie theater, and so that's why I got the fanny pack. And then this time I went with my fanny pack on. I took my wallet out, gave it to my wife to pay for snacks and popcorn and everything. And supposedly she put it back in my sweatpants pocket, which you never put.
Yeah.
You never put wallet in your sweatpants pocket. And then I didn't realize, so it was her fault. I went, I guess, sat in the movie theaters, and I woke up the next morning and left the house, and I'm like, where the heck's my wallet?
You didn't notice until the next day?
Yeah, because I got home late.
You didn't need it.
I went, yeah.
Well, you got home late from Ralph Breaks the Internet?
Well, we got home like 7 o'clock, and then
Okay.
you get the kids ready for bed,
yeah.
and I'm thinking the wallet's still my fanny pack. So
Okay, so now
I
you're
thought we were
going fanny
good.
pack only.
I'm fanny pack without a wallet now. So actually getting in this building, I was a little nervous because they asked for my ID, and I had to,
You just had to sweet talk him.
I had to sweet talk them.
We have a lot to talk about, Chris. First, let's just get the movie thing out of the way because we were talking on Twitter about it. I love that movie. What a great movie. It's a Disney movie, so we could talk about it. We're here at ESPN
let's
now.
do it.
I don't know if you know this.
Right.
I work for ESPN.
Yeah, that's a big
It's the
deal,
worldwide
man.
leader in
Congratulations.
sports.
That's
Yes.
a pretty big deal.
Thank you. That's like the 5th movie I've seen, honestly, in 7-8 years. You're a big movie guy with the kids. I can't take my kids to movies.
I'm not a big movie guy, but I will go when my wife has the kids going and asks me to go. I'll go. But I have a problem. I fall asleep during
Me
the
too.
movies.
So I fell asleep last night.
Oh, you did
Yeah.
fall
Oh,
asleep.
absolutely.
And you're giving this raving review. and you passed
30-minute like power nap.
Yeah.
And I got the gist of the movie.
I tried. It was so good that I actually was like, you know what, I'm going to stay up for this one. And then I'm like, you know what, the kids are happy. I don't have to really worry about anything. Just take a nap, Chris.
Yeah.
And I closed my eyes and went to sleep.
You have the recliner chair?
I had the recliner chair.
Amazing.
Reserve the seats before you
Yes,
get there. You don't have
I
to
didn't
worry
know about it.
anything.
I've never experienced
See,
this.
that's the best thing.
3D?
It's unbelievable.
3D?
It's unbelievable. Yeah. No, not 3D. I don't actually like 3D.
Why?
Because I don't know. It's a little, just weird. I don't like it.
I
With
thought
the
it was
glasses
fun.
and everything.
Yeah, kids liked it.
If the kids like it, that's good, man. It's all about the kids.
It's great seeing the old characters come in, like
Yeah.
the Disney. I don't want to talk too much about it, but anyhow,
Yeah,
you
it
agree
was-
with me. Fun time.
Oh, my kids loved the movie. My wife loved the movie, and I thought it was good until I passed out.
The other thing I wanted to bring up, I was perusing your Instagram page last night. The stories are always very entertaining. And I noticed that you were celebrating the first night of Hanukkah, and like you were going strong. The latkes, you were frying them, you're wearing
Yeah,
the
last
kippah,
night.
you're lighting. What's going on there?
Man, my stomach is messed up today. Is
Yeah,
that normal?
it's
Too much
intense.
oil?
It's a lot of oil.
So that's the thing they
Yeah.
do because they didn't have enough oil
Yes.
during the real Hanukkah.
So now you
right?
just like bathe in the oil.
So you just
douse yourself.
Yeah, it was awesome. It was a good experience to be there. It's my second Hanukkah.
Whose house was that?
It's the Gruber family.
The Gruber family.
Gruber
Okay.
family
And who are they?
of Dix Hills. It's our close friends.
So they just invite you over.
Yeah, I'm nervous even talking about them right
Why?
now because they're going to be super excited. Like, oh my god!
Well, you put them on your Instagram.
Oh my god! Yeah.
It looked like a fun time.
Yeah, they're great people. Yeah.
So they invite the goys to come over. It's
The
okay.
what?
The goys.
Is that the normal people?
Well, that's what like
non-Jewish
non-Jewish people. Yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah, they invited us, and they got our kids presents and everything. It was really
Wow.
cool. And I played spin the dreidel, and I
Yeah.
won the chocolate.
Yeah,
I actually won. I took
You got
everything.
the Gmail? That means you get everything?
Yes, I
Yes.
won that a couple times.
Yeah.
What else? My wife was doing the other game. I didn't play it where there's like almost little blocks that you have and has numbers on it. And
I don't know that game. It's a Jewish. Is it Jenga?
no, it's not
Okay.
Jenga. No, Jenga's when you pull the blocks
Yeah,
out.
yeah,
right?
yeah,
No,
yeah.
This is. It's almost like dominoes, but I don't know. It's weird. If you don't know it, I'm not gonna
Okay.
explain it to you because I just kind of was watching and then I left.
Okay. Well, it seemed like a fun time.
Yeah,
I
it was
happy to see
cool.
you
Yeah,
partake.
yes, it was good.
I mean, you look kind of Jewish, and your last name sounds Jewish.
I look
so-
Jewish. What does that mean?
Yeah, you got, I don't know. You got feet, you got the hair. I don't know.
What is it? What does looking Jewish
Long
mean?
Island. Well, look. You looking at me? This looks Jewish.
With the rise of anti-Semitism,
What?
I
Look at
mean,
his
I mean, a
nose.
rise of I don't know. Yeah, you do look
Yeah.
Jewish.
I can say that as a Jew.
So is it weird I just said that?
No, because
Okay,
I
all
consider
right.
you. That's why I was so
All right.
happy to see it. So anyway, happy Hanukkah to you and your
Thank
family.
you. I feel like I'm gonna get in trouble now on Twitter.
No,
This is bad.
no. This is great.
I love the Jewish people.
Of course, I know. We've talked a lot about this
Yeah.
on our flight down to Brazil, UFC 153, when we were, seatmates.
Yeah,
Remember
exactly.
that?
Yeah. Mazel tov.
Yes. Okay, so a lot of people want to talk about your career. They want to hear about your career.
Let's talk about it.
So, it's always a weird thing when you talk to a fighter after a loss, and I typically don't like to, pry, maybe send a text here or there. But I will say, and I don't have a problem saying this, my heart broke for you on that night.
Thank you, buddy.
It was reminiscent of the Romero fight, and we know how much the fight meant to you. A month later, do you feel like you are over it? What are your thoughts? What are your sentiments when you think about the fight?
Oh man, I mean that's crazy. 2 times Madison Square Garden, 3rd round, winning the fight and knocked out. Yeah, it's tough. This last fight I have 0 regrets. I really don't. Hindsight's 20/20. I could look back and say, oh, I could have done this differently and that differently, but at the end of the day, I went out there. I left it all out there. I did everything I could to win the fight. I was feeling great on my feet. I felt very comfortable. He had hit me with some really good shots in the first and second round that I felt fine. So heading into the third round, I felt really no danger in the stand-up position. I felt like I was, picking him apart, and I felt great. And so there was no need to look for takedowns. So I felt like everything was going fine, and then he hit me on the button, obviously. And if I was to start, and the reason why I have no regrets is because if I started skating away and trying to play it safe and sticking to a jab and running or hitting a takedown and holding position and avoiding submissions, that's not who I am. I always want to go for it, no matter what. And I did. I went to throw a right hand, and he threw his right hand at the same time. His happened to land better than mine, and that's the name of the game. And in another fight, it could be me with the knockout, and people would be like, that was an amazing fight for Weidman. He got a knockout. This time it wasn't. I lost. So it's tough, but just because every fight means so much. I was the way the middleweight division was looking for me. I was going to be fighting the winner of the Whitaker and Gastelum fight. So that was the game plan. I obviously had no intentions of losing. So it's tough to realize, all right, I lost this fight. Now I gotta figure something else out.
Have you watched the fight again?
Yeah, I watched the fight right away after the next day.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You don't take some time off?
Well, watching the fight, I won't take time from. Yeah, I'll watch that right away.
Okay. And
the Yoel Romero fight was harder for me to watch.
Really?
Yeah.
Why is this one different?
Well, the Yoel Romero fight, but this fight with Jacare, I was so prepared. I was prepared perfectly. Training camp went great. There's zero excuses. I felt great. There was nothing that went wrong in preparation. I went out there, even though, obviously I got knocked out. I threw a right hand. He threw a right hand and landed better. I don't have any regrets with that. Again, I went for it. With the Yoel Romero fight, it was an error. It was, we knew how many, we went over and drilled so many times when you go, fighting a southpaw, especially a guy as explosive as a Yoel Romero. And I fought many southpaws before, obviously Anderson Silva and Damian Maia and, a bunch. And Luke Rockhold. When you fight these guys, you don't want to shoot your head to the side of their power, so you don't want to shoot your head to their left side. And all my takedowns against him before that, I stayed consistent with putting my head on the right on his right side and staying away from danger and doing the right thing, sticking to the game plan. And then the reason why I even went for a takedown in the third round was I felt like if you watched him get off the stool, again, I know he's it almost worked in his favor. In my fight against him, he took his time coming off the stool. He looked exhausted. And I figured, all right, I had again, with that fight, I wasn't having any issue standing up. He didn't hit me with anything. I feel like I hardly got hit in that fight at all up until that knee. I felt great standing. But I figured if I take him down one more time and get on top of him, I think he's broken. He just looked exhausted. And there's nothing worse than a wrestler getting taken down when he's tired. For him to get up at that point was going to be really hard for him to do. So I figured that was going to seal the deal for me. And I got sloppy with my takedown and shot to the wrong side, and he capitalized, and all power to him. But that one bothers me more, just because the mistake that was made.
Off the top of my head, I think in the Jacare fight you went for one takedown.
One takedown, yeah. At the end of the second round,
right? Yeah. And I was a little surprised by that, given how good you are in jiu-jitsu and wrestling. That fight was incredible to watch. I felt like I couldn't blink. It was fought in the phone booth the entire time. Yeah. But I was surprised as to why you went for only one takedown. Was that the game plan, not to take the fight to the ground?
But the game plan was to, fight my fight, always moving forward, pressure, and whatever comes natural, not being uncomfortable anywhere, and believing in myself everywhere. And if it hits the ground, obviously this is one of the best jiu-jitsu guys this game has ever seen. So to take it to the ground, I felt I was prepared to go there. I'm very confident in my jiu-jitsu, but if I'm feeling so comfortable on my feet, everything's going right on my feet, why am I going to take the best guy in jiu-jitsu down to the floor in a fight when we got 5 minutes left, or even in a 15-minute fight if everything's going perfect on the feet? Why am I going to test that water that I haven't been in yet with him? Everybody, you train with a different guy, in jiu-jitsu. Every guy feels different. There's going to be a feeling out period. He might surprise you. He might be good at one thing that you haven't felt, and there's always like a feeling out period in every position in a fight, and especially when you go against a guy who's as good as him on the ground. So if I was uncomfortable on the feet, I was going to take him down. Again, if I look back at the fight, maybe I should have took him down, and maybe I would have done well there. But I really have no regrets with the way I handled that fight because everything was going right,
And how did the hand feel afterwards?
The hand felt good. No issues with the hand. Yeah.
Okay.
Hurt my neck a little bit, but
in the fight?
Yeah.
What happened?
Well, I'm guessing it was in the fight. My neck has been feeling amazing, but I guess when he hit me, my neck got a little beat up, but it hurt a little bit after the fight, and then about 5 days later, my little guy Colton was crying, and my wife was like, "Can you go see, lay with him for a little bit?" So I went and lay with him, and she keeps getting mad at me for blaming him for my hurt neck. But
what, in his bed?
Yeah, so I was laying with him, but he has a crappy pillow. I have this nice pillow.
Sure.
So next thing I know it, I'm like,
oh no,
my neck is all jacked up, and I'm turning in both directions and trying to crack it and stretch it, and my neck just started killing me. So I have a herniation on my neck basically, and it's been a little annoying, but
because of your son.
Because of my son.
Wow.
Old Colton's fault. Nothing to do with the MMA fight.
Maybe it's time to get him a better pillow.
Yeah. He needs a better pillow.
But. Is it safe to say we're done with MSG?
Man, holy crap! Can I get a freaking win over there, man? Damn. And it's not even like, listen, this is the thing. If I was getting manhandled by any of these guys, and all right, he was clearly better than me that night, maybe. Find some reason why, but like for me to be, winning these fights and to lose in a devastating fashion like that, especially in Madison Square Garden, it's insane. It's crazy. What's the odds on that? It's crazy.
Do you chalk these things up to just bad luck in these circumstances? Do you think there's something that you're doing in the third round, a lapse in focus and judgment? You're getting tired. How do you come to terms with these things?
I've definitely have questioned like my focus and stuff before in fights, but not in this Jacare fight in particular. I felt so good heading into that third round, being on the stool. Everything was so clear. Everything was going great. And I wasn't tired. I felt great. The Romero fight, there was definitely something with the attention span on that one for me to decide to go take my head and put it to the other side, or maybe I was tired in that fight. That fight preparation, there was issues that happened in that fight preparation where I wasn't in the best shape of my life in that fight. I'll just leave it at that. But still, I thought I was in way better cardio shape than Yoel Romero. He just has so much muscle. There's no way he was going to be able to compete with me and be less tired than me. But I still made the mistake in the third round.
Do you take the month off here in terms of training, or do you get right back into it?
Well, I've been trying to take care of my neck and just making sure that's not an issue. But I started I started eating way too much, so then I started training again. I stared working out.
What does eating way too much mean for you?
Disgusting, just embarrassing.
Like you
a pint of ice cream.
Really?
Bedside
in one sitting?
Oh yeah, no, it's nothing.
Wow. Is there something that you go to? Is there like I remember one time you told me about you going through the drive-through and you were going to get some big, hamburger with bacon and stuff like that.
I could eat. I've been better over the last few years with that, like getting fat and stuff in between fights. But this time I kind of, I heard it, what it is? Like I was fine after my fight. I felt so healthy. I'm like, you know what? I'm getting right back into things. And then my neck started hurting me. And I kind of was like, I kind of got bummed out. And then I started eating hardcore.
Yeah.
And then
but you're allowed to do that.
Now, but then it made me feel so much better to start training.
Okay.
Yeah.
You feel something. You feel like the endorphins.
It felt so much better training. Yeah. You need to. I can't go a day. I need to be training. I need to sweat.
So I remember a couple years ago I was sort of pushing the narrative, Chris Weidman 205, there's a whole new crop of guys there and things like that. And then I saw your weight cut that one time you let me watch when you fought Mousasi in Buffalo. Remember that?
Oh yeah, I was just chilling in that jacuzzi.
It was like the easiest weight cut.
Yeah.
You didn't give us anything. It was like, this is the most boring thing in the world. Yeah. Drama free. And now I kind of feel like you at 205 doesn't really make a lot of sense. However, a lot of people have been asking me to ask you about 205. Do you want to go to 205? Do you want to stay at 185? Have you given any of this any thought?
Again, my main priority right now is to take care of my neck and make sure I'm healthy, and then I'll fight whatever weight class. It's definitely an option. 205 is definitely an option. Obviously, I have the setback right now of losing this last fight, but it's not derailing me from my goal at the end of the game. At the end of the day, is to be the UFC champion again, and I would still want to be the middleweight champion. That's still my goal. It's not like I don't feel like weight cut is an issue to where it's affecting me during my fights or anything like that. So middleweight would be the goal, but if it's whatever's quicker to get to a possible title fight would be the direction I would go.
Like what do you weigh right now? Or is this not a fair assessment because you've been eating so much?
Yeah, it's not a fair assessment, but I'm not terrible for a typical middleweight. I'll be honest, man. I got up heavy. I hit 238.
This time?
This
wow.
It's insane. I hit 238.
Is that the highest you've been?
It was after Thanksgiving and everything. And again, I wasn't working at all. I'm on medication for my neck, anti-inflammatories and stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think that holds on to weight. I'm hoping. I think it has to.
Yeah, for sure.
It's insane. Go from 238, literally 185 in 4 weeks, hit up to 238. And then, so I was at 238 about maybe like 5 or 6 days ago, and then I started working out. And I got down to like 217. Yeah. So
quickly?
Yeah, so I'm back down. Yeah.
I wish I could do that.
Yeah.
Must be nice.
I mean, to be fair, I was like 238 at night after eating lots of food.
Yeah.
And then 217 in the morning, which 217, I mean, in the morning is when you're always the lightest. So.
Right. So 205, I mean, those are big guys.
Yeah, so those, I mean, you got Cormier, what did he weigh in?
Right.
255?
Yeah.
I mean, some of those guys are cutting from that. So I tried to get as fat as I can. And I think because of the medication, it even embellished it more than it should have been. But 238 was hard for me to get up to.
You're like Tyson Fury getting all big.
I wouldn't say that. I didn't get that big, but I'm a huge fan of that guy.
Did you watch?
He's that guy's unbelievable. Yeah. He's unbelievable. No, I didn't watch. I actually didn't watch the fight.
Oh, really?
I'm a huge fan of him. I listened to a couple interviews with him, but the one that really pulled me in was his interview with Joe Rogan.
Yeah.
It was unbelievable, man. Just the way he was so transparent with his depression and everything. You know, I think bouts of suicide and then the drugs and the alcohol. And how he was able to rebound out of that, you know, with with God and, you know, finding his way spiritually, and then finding a goal for himself. He said goals was really the big thing, like setting a goal for himself. And about that Deontay Wilder thing where he's on a run and he, you know, I guess Deontay Wilder called him out and said he's a fat mess, he's a loser, he's never coming back. And he heard that and he goes, now I'm coming back. He hit rock bottom, and hearing that. It's funny. You never know what will motivate you.
Right.
It's like the small little thing that, you know what, that clicks, and now I'm going to make a difference. And he made a difference by hearing that interview.
You relate to that when you hear that? I mean, as a fighter?
There was some things in there I did relate to. One of the things that I relate to is, you know, my career, the trajectory of it all, and my goal setting. And so, you know, my goal was always to be the UFC champion. My goal was always to beat Anderson Silva. And at 9-0, there I was standing across Anderson Silva, and ended up beating him, won the middleweight championship. And I remember after the fight, looking at myself in the mirror, and realizing like nothing changed. It's just like you're the same. Like you expected the whole world, you know, everything to. I don't know. You just like have these crazy expectations. You work so hard. You know, I worked my whole life for that, pretty much. You know, and. You achieved your dreams and your goals, and you thought you were going to be so happy, and then all of a sudden you're like, "This is it. This is it," because if that's your purpose, it'll never be fulfilled. You'll never be fulfilled. So, that's one of the things I definitely got from him.
So you were disappointed?
No, I wasn't disappointed. It's just these goals will never fulfill the way you expect them to.
Right.
You know, that's why I think having a relationship with God is really the most important thing.
So I mean, I feel like you can tell a fighter that. Like you could tell an up-and-comer who's 21 years old who wants to be UFC champion. It's impossible to actually learn that lesson until you experience it, right? As a fighter, right?
100%.
Like if someone told the 23-year-old Chris Weidman, like, hey, man, when you win that UFC belt, it's not going to be that different. I mean, like, you'll get more money here and there, but it's not going to be that different. You'll be like, yeah, right, not me, right? That's how fighters are.
Nothing changes, and then you could get depressed over that. You're like, this is it. What you put a whole life's work into it, and then to not get a satisfaction that you were kind of expecting is definitely a little depressing. For me, I always knew I was going to be fighting him twice. So that really was my end goal. I thought that was going to change my whole world, and that was it. And I'll sail off into, the sunset. That was it. So that's why it was right away. As soon as I beat Anderson Silva, I'm like, hey, we're fighting again. And he's like, no rematch.
Yeah.
I'm like, no, we're fighting again. And I'm happy. I knew it was going to happen. We were going to fight.
Right. And then
and then I fought him again. It was the same thing. It's like, all right, now that was, both of them kind of hit home as far as like, the meaning of life, the meaning of everything, just expectations and of these goals that you put on such a pedestal.
Yeah.
And
at any point did you feel
change your perspective on everything.
At any point does it feel fulfilling?
Oh, you're fulfilled as far as your career, but you realize that this is not everything, because when you're in the thick of it, there's nothing else that matters. There's nothing else there's almost nothing else that matters. I mean, it's just the most important thing.
Who's calling you now? Who's that?
My wife. I hope she's not calling me, telling me to shut up.
Oh no,
she doesn't love you, Murphy.
Does she expect you to answer the phone in the middle of the interview?
Chris, shut up.
But what fight did you?
Her voice sounds way sweeter than that. By
yes,
the way.
Of course, she's an angel. Waianae's Own, another great product of Waianae, right?
Oh yeah, she's a Waianae gangster too.
But which fight did you learn that?
It was. I mean, right after my first, I remember, like I said, looking at myself in the mirror and like, wow, this is like. It was all the chaos ended. The room got quiet. I was by myself for the first time.
Okay.
That's when it hit home. I'm in the mirror. I'm in my bathroom. Nobody else is in the hotel room anymore. Because I mean, obviously, I became the what I do.
No, you're just gonna fix your mic.
Oh, thank you.
What a mensch this Eric is. I mean, really.
He's a mensch.
First time he's ever actually come in and fixed someone's
Jewish
mic.
Too.
He must really like you.
Yeah, exactly. What was I saying? Yeah, no, it just when you're everything quiets down. Obviously, it's just complete chaos. I won the championship. There's still nothing like that. Beating Anderson Silva the first time after him being unbeaten, obviously in the UFC for years, and people thinking he was untouchable, and for me to go out there and knock him out, there was nothing like that. So when the noise slowly dissipated and I was by myself, it hit home. Like, it felt empty. It felt empty inside.
Are you afraid that you're not going to get that feeling again?
The feeling of winning a championship belt, or the feel like to be able to it's going to be different. That feeling is going to be on its own no matter what. There's nothing that's ever going to touch me accomplishing my goal. You have to also realize, like, I never really, as many years as I wrestled as many years as I wrestled from high school to college and internationally, like, I never accomplished my goals. I've accomplished a lot of things in that. I have a lot of accolades, but my goals were never really accomplished. I wanted to be a national champion and then a world champion, an Olympic champion. I never accomplished that. And so to finally move into MMA and become a world champion was, for the first time, especially, and then beating Anderson Silva, the greatest of all time, by knockout, a guy who used to just let people punch him in the face. And so not only was he dynamic on his feet, he also had a granite chin. He would let people punch him. I just remember, there's so many fights he would just put his hands down, and then move his head and counter. He would actually just keep his head there and let them tee off on him, and he wasn't going anywhere. So to be able to knock him out like that, that's always going to be a moment of its own. To make a comeback and then hit adversity like I just did again, and then now to make another comeback is going to probably be I can't say it's going to be better than that. I don't know, but it's going to be another moment of its own. And no, that's still the goal.
You still love it?
I love it. I love training. Like the last couple of days when I have been training, I mean, everybody who's just walking in my gym, I'm just torturing. I'm just like, come on, let's go. We got to play spar. Let's spar. I also have to burn a lot of calories from all this food that's in me, so I need to work out. So I've been working out like 3 or 4 hours a day, and it's just straight. It's not like I'm taking breaks. I'm just, anybody who comes to the gym, let's go, let's work out, let's hit the bag together, let's, play spar, just drills.
When would you like to return?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm not there yet at all.
Yeah.
I mean, I would 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, I would have told you very soon.
Right.
Because my body felt really good after my fight. My neck just bothered me a little bit, but then again, it's my son's fault. My neck is now jacked up, but I don't know. I gotta take care of my body.
Did they ask you to fight in Brooklyn?
They did ask me. I guess they did ask me to fight.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jim. Thank you, Jim Walter.
Pretty good.
Best agent in the game, in the room. He's always with me.
Maybe best not to that's a little too soon. That's January 19th.
Yeah, I mean, better luck in Brooklyn, maybe. Listen, I'm not fighting in Brooklyn.
Yeah, that's right.
I'm not fighting in Brooklyn.
It's just
especially after this interview.
It's too soon.
And my neck,
Yes,
now.
yes.
I'm an injured man. I'm an injured man. My son, my pillow.
Yeah. Man, did you hear about Adonis Stevenson, the boxer?
No, what happened?
You know who Adonis Stevenson is? Have you heard of him?
Sounds familiar.
The boxer. He's been he's been a champion 8 years, undefeated for the last 8 years. He's from Montreal.
Should have heard of him.
He's a boxer, so
Okay,
but he's from Montreal and good friend of George St. Pierre. Anyhow, he's now in a medically induced coma. He lost on Saturday, and he was in critical condition, now stable condition, but we don't know what's going to happen.
Oh my
and it's just crazy. Like, I was watching him on Showtime on Saturday.
That's terrible.
And it's like...
Wait, this is on the Tyson Fury card?
No, it was like earlier in the day, but it was also on Showtime. But he's great. He's one of the greatest Canadian boxers ever.
Was it a one-punch knockout, or is it like he got beat up for a while?
A little bit, yeah. He got beat up for a while.
Yeah.
Later in the fight,
and then he went out.
He was
unconscious?
out, yeah.
Okay. And then and
then he went to the hospital.
Shoot, man.
And it's just, the sport, it's weird, combat sports in general,
Yeah.
and I can't imagine, like for you, I know you're probably bummed that you lost, but you're good. You're good. And
I count my blessings. Especially after Thanksgiving, you sit down and you think about how many things you're blessed with. I mean, we're all blessed. I think we're all blessed.
We're all living
in a great time.
It's a scary. Like, I look at you guys. I look at sometimes when you write things on Twitter, and then I see people write things back to you. And we know about trolls and cowards and all that stuff, but it's like, man, what you men and women do going into the cage, going into the ring, and I know you're getting paid for it, and you're trying, but like, you're not getting paid enough for this. What you're doing to yourselves, and we don't know what the law. But then you could be a champion, and then you could be in a medically induced coma. So like, I know that's the worst way to try to rationalize a knockout loss, but you're good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, I'm not feeling sorry for myself, at all.
You don't strike me as the type.
Yeah, this is a brutal sport we're in. There's no question about it. And I'm blessed to be in a good place. I'm healthy. I got no complaints.
Do you feel like you need to take a break from MMA when you suffer a setback? Like, you try not to watch the sport or follow the sport?
You're saying after a loss?
Yeah, like, what's your relationship, or how do you deal with it?
No, honestly, not this one in particular. Other ones I've had that a little bit, where it's like I don't even want to think about MMA, or I don't want to watch a fight. But this one, no, because like I said, I mean, it's like I'm teaching these little wrestlers. You go out there and just wrestle your best, and you have no regrets. And this time I fought my best, and I have no regrets. It's the same thing. There's other times where I haven't fought my best, and I have serious regrets. And if you're not prepared the right way, it's on you. It's not on anybody else. It's on you. And then you're going to have regrets. So the goal is always to work as hard as you possibly can, and then go out there and just have fun, and you won't have any regrets, win or lose. And that's easier said than done.
Right.
But I've had losses. I've had very few losses where I've done everything right and still lost. 2 actually come. This Jacare fight, and then all the way back into 2009 Abu Dhabi's against Andre Galvao.
Wow.
I trained my butt off. I wasn't in that fight, and that I think you call it a fight, a jiu-jitsu match, whatever. I had like a messed up hand, but there was no regrets. I went 100%. I went for everything that your instincts felt. I went for it. I had a bunch of different chokes locked up. There was no regrets. And this fight too, I went for it. And so there's no regrets.
When you competed in 2009, I don't think you had any children, right?
No, not yet.
Now that your kids are older, and particularly your middle son.
Well, hang on. Depends when in 2009. I got to think about that.
Is your daughter 9 years old?
She's 8.
So probably not. Or maybe
probably not. Yeah, it's right there.
But now that your kids are older and they know, like, they go through the training camp with you and they see the whole build up to a fight, and then when you explain to them the next day what happened, does that make it almost worse in a sense? Like when you don't have kids, you just kind of deal with the loss, you move on. But now you have to actually explain it to your kids. Is that the worst? Oh, that's terrible.
It's terrible. You talking about it now? Listen, I have no regrets with this fight. I really don't. I feel good about it. I get it. But telling my kids is something like right now, even thinking about it, it makes me emotional. It's crazy. This one was they're always tough, especially when you lose. My first was the worst, and then this one was pretty bad only because now my kids are getting even older,
right?
And so they're getting it more.
Right.
They're more involved. They know who I'm fighting, and they know, what they're good at and what I'm good at, and they've known what I've gone through and like what I've accomplished, and then losing, and then now coming back, almost fighting for a title. Like they understand the whole logistics of it all. This past one, my daughter, it was tough. I came in the room right after the fight. I went back to the hotel room, and all my kids were sleeping. But I guess someone had gone into the hotel room where my kids were, and my daughter overheard them talking about my fight and that I lost, and she overheard them.
Oh, no.
So then she woke up, and she was asking, she wanted to see me. Damn it, Ariel. Have I cried on your show before? This is terrible. Man. I love my kids. I love my daughter. But basically, she was she was blaming herself because she fell asleep as she was saying the prayer for me.
Oh, man.
She was saying a prayer for me to win, and then she woke up and she overheard them saying that I lost, and she kept praying. She thought it was like a dream, a bad dream, and she was just kept praying until I was there, and I had to tell her, stop, damn it, Weidman. I had to tell her, no, it really did happen. It's not your fault, and it's all good. It's part of God's plan. It's all good.
Oh, man.
Damn it, you made me cry.
I'm sorry, you're making me cry.
You put the camera just on him. This is embarrassing.
You're making me cry. Wow. That's a horrible story.
It's terrible. I tried to slow it up so I wouldn't cry, and I still cried.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry to ask you that.
You're not sorry.
No,
this is what you live for.
It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart.
Trust me. I'm not even that. I'm not that heartless. I could actually start asking you about your kids right now, but I wouldn't do that.
Yeah. Oh, what is Eric bringing in the tissue boxes? Jeez Louise. But CJ is like the bigger fan.
Yeah, CJ was crying. CJ was crying. But the
just
thing
let it
is,
all out at this point. Let's just go.
CJ. But I'll be honest, CJ. I missed that. He woke up in the morning and I wasn't actually there, and so he was hysterical, but I wasn't there.
Okay.
And then when he seen me, he was a little bit stronger, and I was able to explain it to him. But when I wasn't there, my wife had to endure that, and
man.
I heard that wasn't easy.
What a saint she is having to deal with it.
My wife is an amazing woman.
I see him rocking the singlet at the Hanukkah party. Your son, he's a beast.
Yeah, so he had a wrestling tournament yesterday. He's doing awesome.
He's wearing a singlet with nothing under it, just like in what,
he
had 30-degree weather.
He has 2 medals on. He looked like Kurt Angle walking around this Hanukkah party. They're not used to that.
Yeah,
the
Jews
alpha,
are not used to that.
Alpha little boy running around just trying to wrestle everybody. They're like, oh no, what's he doing? But no, he was hysterical.
What are we doing in New York? You got some big business meetings? What's happening here?
What's on my face?
I'm just cleaning my face. I'm a mess. Usually the interviewer is supposed to be the one who keeps it together.
Well, thanks for joining the team.
It's fun. That's right. Well done.
Yeah,
well done on that one.
What
do we got? Anything you could talk about, or?
I don't know. What are we talking about?
I don't know. Aren't you in New York for some stuff? Or?
Oh yeah. So I don't know what I'm allowed to.
I don't want to get you in trouble.
No. So my manager Jim Walter, he's on the brink of a big deal with Lululemon. So
I love
we stopped in Lululemon, and
wow.
And
Canadian
I'm
brand
that right now. The most comfortable stuff.
Incredible.
Man. It is so comfortable.
Have you tried the pants?
Of course.
The pants are phenomenal.
Are ridiculous. Yeah.
You know they're Canadian.
Yes, I did. I actually found that out today.
Yes, that's great.
Yeah.
You're going to be working with them,
yep.
maybe.
Well,
looking like
I'm working with them right now. I got some Lululemon gear on,
wow.
so that's the beginning of it. And
your wife will like it
it's looking
too.
pretty good. We're going to be working together.
That's huge.
I got the thumbs up from Jim. So yeah, it's amazing. It's huge. It's huge. I'm excited about it. They start off as a yoga brand. They're trying to get a little bit more edgier, and MMA is definitely
Wow.
a category they're looking to get into. And
I love
they're
it.
starting with us.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Your wife's going to be happy about that.
She's definitely going to be happy about that. But I got a goodie bag from them this time, and unfortunately, it's just for me. So I'm going to have to go home.
I thought you were going to say
with
for
the
us.
extra larges.
You're on the team. You know?
All right, sorry about that. I'll hook you up.
Chris, it's always a pleasure.
Thank you, man.
I make you cry and then I tell you to leave.
Yeah, this is I feel used. I feel really used right now. This
it's good
terrible.
to get it out.
I'm leaving now. Are you kidding me? Like this? Can you end with something else?
Well, we talked about Lululemon. It's a very positive
Lululemon.
thing.
That is very positive.
But I love you, and Jake in the back over there, Sityodtong. I told you about him working on the team. Not Eric, Eric, but the other guy.
Yeah.
Huge fan
I
of yours.
he was
giddy.
There.
If you could give him a hug on the way out,
he actually didn't even look at me. When
I know
walked by.
He's all business.
His head was down.
He's all business, but I think did he wrestle or play football? I don't know what he did. He's a hunk of a man. Football.
You're a fan of his. He's
a great guy.
Okay.
Great addition to the team here at ESPN. He was very excited when he heard that you were coming.
That's awesome. I'll make sure.
And he reminds me
to him with my teary eyes.
We're having this thing here. We're giving away for charity where everyone who comes in studio signs the banner over there.
Oh, cool, man.
You see that?
Yeah.
Daniel Cormier. We got John Jones, Eddie Alvarez, Chael Sonnen, Matt Mitrione. If you don't mind, we'd love to have you.
Absolutely.
We're going to auction it off.
And congratulations, man.
Thank you. You know what we're going to do with this? We're going to auction it off and give it to the Borg family.
Oh, that's awesome. It's crazy what's going on with him and his son.
He's incredible.
Yeah,
his son, Anthony Borg, 5 months or 8 months?
8 months old.
My fighter of the year. That kid is amazing.
You're a good man there. I agree.
Unbelievable.
How many surgeries has he had now?
I think 5.
It's insane.
Brain surgeries.
Yeah, it's unbelievable.
So anyhow,
terrible.
if you don't mind signing,
Absolutely,
I appreciate
yeah.
you coming in.
Yeah.
I always say this. I know you don't love doing the media thing.
Don't say. What do you?
I feel like.
What do you mean I don't love
I feel
it?
like it's a bit of it's a chore for you sometimes. But with me, you always do it. So I appreciate it.
Hey, let me. I do want to say one thing.
Okay,
I had so much support after this, especially after this last loss,
Yeah.
from all my fans, and it was really nice. So I just want to say thank you to all my fans out there on my Instagram, especially, and on Twitter and Facebook, for reaching out and showing that support and letting me know that they were proud of me and that they loved the fight. That was pretty cool.
It was an amazing fight. One of the best fights of the year.
No, it was an honor to be in the cage with Jacare. Honestly, it was awesome to be in there with him. So.
Thanks, my man.
All right,
all the best to you. All the best to your family. Happy Hanukkah. You could sign the banner. We keep the show rolling. We don't take breaks here.
All right, I'll start walking out. My bad. I'm sorry.
We've got markers right over there for you. Say hello to everyone except for Matt Serra. It's just right over there to your right. No, on the bottom. Yep. There you go. There it is.
Any color?
Any color. You could do gold because you were a champion. I don't think we have gold. I make that joke every week, even to the non-champions. And sign wherever you want. And there he is, Chris Weidman. Soon to be, once again, the UFC middleweight champion. You heard it here first. Oh, he is going with gold or yellow. Yellow, gold. Doesn't really pop, if I'm being honest. The yellow and the white. No, it's okay.
No, I got to make it pop.
Okay. Yeah, you could go over it if you want. But I appreciate him coming in. Also, Jim Walter, one of the up-and-coming managers in the game. Is it unfair to call him up-and-coming? I feel like he has asserted himself, especially this year with Anthony Smith and Stipe Miocic. I mean,
I don't know. Up-and-comer's a good award.
Okay, fair. I mean, I feel like he's arrived. This is a bad interview now because I'm talking to you and you're not in front of the microphone. So yeah, you're just letting the boogers just clean them up, suck them back in. So now, in case you're wondering, Chris is actually retracing his signature in a very slow and deliberate way. Sorry. No.
I want to hear it. Can I just be a part of this?
Absolutely. In a matter of moments, we're going to be joined by the KFC King himself, Mark Hunt, who completed his UFC contract over the weekend.
Quinta's looking awesome, by the way.
Quinta's looking great. Yeah, December 15th, Kevin Lee rematch in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. That is a big one. And we're looking forward to having Long Island's own ally Quinta back in the saddle. But back to Mark Hunt, fought Justin Willis, lost via decision, and now he is a free agent. And so it's going to be very interesting. We're going to be joined by him and also Austin Vanderford before we end things. Chris, you're the man. Much love. Thank you so much. Shared a moment there. Jim, you're the man as well. Love you guys. Thank you so much for stopping by. God bless. And happy holidays to you and your family. Merry Christmas.
Terrible.
Terrible. I got you again. We did it one time at UFC 187. Much love, Chris. There he is, Chris Weidman, Christopher J. Weidman, stopping by. Great to have him in studio. Thank you very much to Jim Walter as well, who's closing the door. What a mensch. Eric's not closing the door. Thank you, Jim. Appreciate it. Okay, Mark Hunt coming up in a matter of seconds here, a little bit delayed. Do we have Mark or do we not have Mark? I think Jake is talking to Chris in the back there, so I think that I'm just driving. I'm just driving this train all by myself. Mark Hunt, and stay tuned for Austin Vanderford coming up as well with some breaking news of his own. A jam-packed day, an emotional day here on the program. A lot going on, a lot to dissect, and then we've got the post-show coming up as well. Do we have Mark Hunt or not yet? We're working on it. Okay. Jake's glowing because he had his moment. Okay, let's go to the magic of Skype and say hello to... Wait, isn't that the Skype camera? No, that's not the Skype camera. Okay. Okay, in a matter of seconds, we're going to go to the magic of Skype and say hello to Mark Hunt. It is early over there, and we've been keeping him waiting, so I want to get to him as soon as possible. He fought Justin Willis on Saturday, technically Sunday, in Adelaide. His teammates, Tai Tuivasa and also Tyson Pedro, fought as well on the card. I'll take the Kleenex box over there. I might need it for later. And now he is a free man. By all accounts, he is a free man. Finished up his UFC contract. No secret, he has had his issues with the UFC brass, with the company, with the drug testing, and he has not kept his feelings to himself. And now it's going to be interesting to see what happens with Mark Hunt, the Super Simone himself, one of the greatest of all time, a legend in combat sports, not only in mixed martial arts, but also in kickboxing as well. He joins us now via the magic of Skype. Mark, how are you?
Hey, how you doing, bro?
I'm sorry for keeping you waiting, Mark. We were having some issues there setting up, but I appreciate your patience as always. It's great to talk to you. You can see me, you can hear me?
Yeah, yes, sir, I can hear you. It's all good.
How are you doing, Mark, after the fight?
Actually, feel pretty good. Feel kind of pretty good after I'm unemployed. It's kind of funny that to be unemployed and feeling good about it.
You feel like the shackles are off, like a weight has been lifted?
I just feel happy. I don't know why, but I'm just I feel good to be be able to do what I want.
Do you feel like those feelings affected your performance? Like you just wanted to be done with it?
I'm not making excuses. I lost those fights. I mean, I haven't felt good for a while. Since the last performance I put on since in New Zealand, since Derek Lewis, I was doing good, and then it went downhill. I started getting guys number 7, number 9, and then number 13 now, and it just who knows? It just hasn't been good. I knew I wasn't going to get a title shot, so I'm just trying to say that I just lost the fights. Good on them for winning the fights. I just didn't feel like I put a good performance in any of those fights, and I apologize to the fans. And hopefully things can change around, and I still feel like I've got a lot more to offer with fighting. I want to fight 5 more times, and in another organization or myself. I just I want to do something on my own and see how it feels. Who knows what the next fight show? Maybe it's just maybe it is time to hang up. Who knows? I don't know. I feel like I still want to fight more. I just don't want to fight in the UFC anymore. So I'm done with that. So I'm glad it was my last fight. I'm not hating on UFC. I want to thank UFC for being my employees for such a long time. I came into the company being unwanted. They called me the unwanted stepchild. But even that story is not true what Dana was talking about. So, but, I'm glad. I'm thankful that UFC employed me for such a long time and gave me a new contract, even with different things going on. But it is my time to move on and to bigger and better things. I'm looking forward to launching the EFL in December in London with different partners and spending a lot more time with the kids. So yeah.
Did they try to convince you? Did they talk to you about a new contract, or did that never come up?
Yeah, I don't think that's ever going to come. Because anyone that's I'm suing the UFC, and dickhead Lesnar, of course. But why would it give it another contract for? And I probably would have said no anyway. So even if there was a contract offering, I don't think I would have taken it anyway. So unless it was a ridiculous amount. But that ain't gonna happen. So
right.
But yeah, I feel pretty good that I'm unemployed, and I don't even know why.
Well, because
a good feeling for me was an incident inside the change before I walked out. They told me to wear the Reebok shirt, and I said, I don't have to do anything. But I like the guy. I said to him, dude, I like you, and I wear it because you're doing your job. But don't tell me I got to do anything. Just like when I walked out of there, I said, you got to do this, Mike, at the end of the fights. I said, I don't have to do shit, man. I'm out of here. See you later. Don't tell me what to do, right? I don't work for you anymore. That was a good feeling for me, man. I felt really good.
I can imagine.
Even though it wasn't the right thing to do. I mean, it was the right thing for me to do, but it was funny.
I can
like
imagine.
People trying to tell me what to do like I'm some sort of slave. I ain't no fucking slave.
Right. By the way,
slavery died out years ago, bro.
Where do things stand with the lawsuit?
I don't know. I can't talk about it. As you know, they're working on different things, and hopefully it comes to a conclusion, and everyone gets an even playing field to work on. So that's the main thing. That's what it's been all about, and of course, taking away these guys that are cheating their financial gains. But, I can't speak more about it. We're still working on it, and that's the bottom line. Okay. Hopefully, the courts see it in our favor, and it becomes an even playing field these days, so no one dies.
What was up with you and Justin Willis at the weigh-ins? It seemed like something happened backstage, and then Ty called him out afterwards.
I don't know, dude. I mean, that's the first time in all my career that I've ever been with someone trying to bully me. It's kind of funny because it's the hurt business. You can wait till Sunday. I'm not gonna get into an altercation on the street, before I get paid. Dude, I don't do this for nothing, man. I ain't no glory hunter, man. I'm here to get paid, and you should look at it differently. I mean, it was kind of rude of him to be like that. But, it is how it is, and that's the way he does things. And he won the fight, so I mean, it was a really shit fight, but he still won it at the end of the day. But good on him with his approach to his way of doing things with martial arts and trying to get the top end or trying to intimidate others with I think you should leave that to those gangsters that do that for real. Man, this is martial arts, not trying to make someone feel like that. But it is what it is. That's the way he looks at it, and that's it.
He tried to fight you back there?
No, I don't. Well, like I said, out of all my years of combat sports, he tried to intimidate me. I said, dude, just chill, bro. I mean, shucks. You got to get jumped at the back here, man. Look at all the people over here.
Yeah. I loved your...
Relax till Sunday, dude.
I loved your entrance. Was that your idea?
Yeah, of course. I was trying to get a 50-man haka with all the boys, and since it was my last one, but 5 was good enough. So I appreciate UFC for allowing that. It was good. I loved it. Just showing our culture, and especially been fighting on home soil as always. So it's great.
And so you still do want to fight again, though, right? Like that is still your plan.
Yeah, it's just been like I said, it's been I don't know what it is for a while. I've been seeing a sports psychologist about my different things about competing under the UFC banner, but I thought it was sorted out. I guess not. Maybe it's just fighting in general that it's time to retire. But I still feel like I feel like the noose has been off my neck now. You can't. I shouldn't say that way, but you can't dislike certain things and go out and you compete when you fight for the team. You go out fighting, you have a trainer, you compete hard and you compete for them because you love them and you love what you do. But it hasn't been like that for me for a while. Just being honest here.
Sure. I feel like it sort of comes across in your performances a little bit, and I feel like the fans have noticed that as well, and that's why I was asking at the beginning if there was a lack of motivation because you just didn't want to be there. You were unhappy.
Hey man, the camp was well. I trained at Tiger Muay Thai. Everything was going really good. I just, it was just, I went out to win. I just, I don't know, man. It just, maybe it is time to ride. I just feel like, for me, I don't know. I think it's the banner I represent under. I'm glad that I'm not under the hammer anymore to do. I'm a free agent now and can go and compete on my own terms and not be held down. I give it my all. I mean, I've been a pretty good employee, but trying to get things level for a lot of things with the fighting and the steroid use in this company. But like I said, I'm looking forward to try and get in my fighting spirit and getting back in there again. I still feel like fighting. I just don't feel like fighting under this banner, man.
Have any promoters reached out to you yet?
Yeah, a couple already. That's why I'm here in the city. Yeah, I got a couple already. Boxing, and got a few things on the pipelines. But it's just talk. Way better money, of course. But just talk at the moment, man.
Boxing.
I don't know. It's just talk. Who knows? Like I said, I'm just the last 3 fights or 4 fights have not been me, and hopefully I can get that fire back to get in the winning circle, or maybe it is time to give up the game after such a long time. I just love what I do. I mean, I'm 44, and it wasn't my best performance on the weekend or yesterday. Hats off to Justin for winning that one. So, but it was a pretty shit show from us, to be honest. Someone looked like Derek Lewis and Nagano, to be honest.
I love you and Tyson and Ty together like your brotherhood. What was it like afterwards? It was a tough night for all three of you. What was the morale like?
It was, one of those. It's just nice. I mean, they understand how this business works. You win, you lose. If you want to continue, you get up and move on. Otherwise, you just get out of the way and let someone else come through. That's just the business. Everyone's, gave their best performance, and it was not our nights. I mean, you can see the guys like Ty and Tyson. They were just right in there. Ty nearly had Junior, and so did Tyson. But that's just the way the game is. I mean, every fighter knows this is how it works.
When do you want to decide if you're going to really keep going? You're going to say, do you have a deadline in mind, or are you just going to let this sort of play out?
Well, I want to have 5 more fights, but I want to get 5 more fights, to be honest, and then go from there. We'll see what happens. It might even be 2. I don't know. I'm just trying to figure it out. What's the issue here with me? Yeah.
Meaning what? Like the motivation issue?
Well, yeah, maybe just like the issue with motivation is probably because I'm working for a company that I'm suing.
Right.
Probably, I don't know. It's kind of hard to figure, but I don't know. We'll see what happens the next couple of months. They're going to take some time off with my family and go and launch the EFL, and then reassess where I'm at.
What's the EFL?
The EFL is an e-fighting sports league, which is a company, gaming. Because I'm big in gaming.
Okay.
Well, I'm not big in gaming. I love gaming, and we're launching that in the Troxy in London in December. It's Street Fighter, Tekken. So me and Ben 10 are battling each other, Team Hunt versus Team Yuan.
Oh.
And it's a gaming thing, like some of the other fighters.
I love it. That's great.
Yeah.
Well, I'm happy to see you smiling, Mark. I'm happy to hear that everything's okay, and we love you and how much we think so highly of what you've done. And it's crazy. You've lost 3 in a row, and I feel like it hasn't hurt your stock at all. I feel like people will continue to want to watch Mark Hunt fight. So I hope that you go somewhere where you're happy and you feel like you're welcome and treated with respect over there.
Yeah, man, I appreciate it, everyone, and thanks for having me on your show all the time. And hopefully we can get things on a better path instead of like the way it is at the moment. So so you can see some happy fighters instead of some fighters held down and shit. That's all. But thanks for the time, man. Always appreciate you, man.
Always, and please keep us posted. Damn. Be safe out there, Mark, and keep us posted.
All right, man. Thanks.
All right, we'll talk to you soon. There he is, the one and only Mark Hunt, the Super Samoan himself, KFC King. I have to say, I have been interviewing Mark Hunt for many years now. I don't recall him ever being that verbose. That sounded like a different Mark Hunt in a very good way. Am I the only one who noticed that? That sounded like a dramatically different Mark Hunt. He sounded infinitely happier. And this is a man who just lost, whose career in the UFC is over, who's not going back to the UFC, sounded incredibly different, happy. Like you could feel the weight lifted off his shoulders just through his voice. You could feel it. Like I feel lighter just listening to him. That was fascinating. That really was. And I feel like there's a lot more fight left in him. And I feel like it is a motivational thing. And I feel like his stock hasn't really fallen. And I feel like there's going to be a home for him somewhere, whether it's Bellator 1, Ryzen. Who doesn't want to be in business with Mark Hunt? All right, we'll talk more about Mark Hunt in the post show, but for now, let us go to our last guest of the day, and this is a very interesting one, my friends. We've got some breaking news, so saddle up here. Several months ago, we spoke to Austin Vanderford following his win on the Dana White Contender Series show, and I said that I thought it was a travesty that they didn't sign him. Didn't understand it then, don't understand it now. But Austin Vanderford has moved on, and he has some news to share with all of us. Let's go to the magic of Skype and say hello to Austin Vanderford, who's been patiently waiting. Austin, how are you?
Doing good. How you doing?
I'm doing really well, and thank you for waiting for us. We got a little backed up today, so I appreciate your patience. Let's not waste any time. What's going on? What's on your mind?
Oh man, I got some awesome news over the past few days and few weeks, and I'm excited. I'm signing with Bellator, and I couldn't be more excited. Just can't wait to get out and start competing.
Congratulations. I like the T-shirt. It's a nice touch.
Thank you.
Well done.
Yeah, we thought that would be a good, you do know I've got Chael Sonnen as my
yes.
as my guy, so I got to pull out some stuff every once in a while.
Yes, a little showmanship. I like it. Congratulations. How did this come about? Did they reach out to you? Did you reach out? Because I remember you telling me before the Contender Series show you had talks with them as well.
Yeah. There was some dialogue back and forth and whatnot, and things just played out, and fortunately they were still interested, and I fought like a month and a half ago, and there was still interest, and I'm super fortunate and excited, man. I'm really happy with the route that I'm going and all that. So.
Okay, and so do you have your debut fight set yet?
No, nothing set yet. We signed everything last week, and so just kind of been waiting for the right opportunity to announce and whatnot, and this is the first really that anyone knows about it, and so excited, can't wait to see who I get for my first opponent and all that. So.
And I appreciate you coming here to announce it. We thank you very much for that. You will be fighting at 170, 155?
170.
Okay.
Yeah.
170.
Yeah, 155 is a little much for me to make.
No.
Sure.
Have you ever fought at 155?
No. I walk around at like 200, 205, around there. So I'd have to like cut a leg off or do something like that. Is there
anyone in particular you want? Do you want to call your shot before you step foot in the Bellator cage?
Not really my game, man. I just want to get out and compete, and I'm excited to compete against the best in the world, and that's all that I've really wanted is just the opportunity to be on that stage and whatnot. I'm sure there's not going to be a lack of guys calling me out and wanting to fight, and so I'm ready and I'm excited for all of it.
I remember seeing that highlight not that long ago. You fought on the regional scene. You got an impressive knockout. That was your first fight after the Contender Series show. And I was wondering if maybe there was a chip on your shoulder that you wanted to maybe prove to those other guys that they should have signed you, that someone should sign you, a major promotion. Was that your mindset going into that fight, which led to the great performance?
No, not really. No real chips. I've said like in the past, I've got, goals in mind and whatnot. And so, I respect you got to work yourself up and work your way through it and whatnot. And I have other things that motivate me and not really trying to show up, promotions or whatnot. Of course, I want my performances to be good and look good, and I want them to want me and all that. But at the end of the day, I'm just a competitor who wants to be the best in the world. And I'm on that platform now, and I'm excited.
So no hard feelings towards the UFC?
Oh, of course not. No, I'm happy. I say it over and over. I couldn't be more happy with being with Bellator, and I'm excited. I think we both have the right vision and mind and whatnot, and no hard feelings, man. You know, it's the business and it's the game. They got a ton of 170ers, and you know, and Bellator wants me, and I want to be with Bellator. So that's the main thing. That's the driving force now.
What a couple of months for you. You got married to the great Paige Van Zandt. You guys were in Portugal not that long ago. You got the big win. Now signing with Bellator. How was the wedding?
The wedding was great. I think it was like a week before the wedding I found out I was going to fight, and I knew I wanted to fight either right before the wedding or right after, and it turns out it was a few weeks after. So kind of had my mind on that, but at the same time, you know, I had to let go of everything and just enjoy it. And it was so fun, so awesome. We talk about all the time. I wish we could go back and do it all over again. It just goes by so fast.
Now, did you guys go on a honeymoon yet?
No honeymoon. No, we've been pretty busy. So I think it was like 3 weeks after the wedding, I had my fight, and then we were gone every weekend, like 5 consecutive weekends or something. So a lot of travel and kind of slowed down finally. And now, you know, news with Paige's fight coming and all that. And then I'll probably be up fairly soon after that. Just no real time to honeymoon celebrate yet. But after we go out and put on some good performances, and we'll treat ourselves.
As a couple now, would you like to fight at the same time as your wife, or would you prefer if it's separated where you each, you know, like, would you like to sort of go through the experience together, or is it better if you're fighting on different timetables?
I think it's cool to do it together. I think, you know, we hold each other accountable and with diet and all that. We're not too crazy about going out, and we like to be together and go out on a date night here and there. But, you know, we live fairly boring fighter lifestyles other than traveling for work and whatnot. But, yeah, it would be cool. I think we could feed off each other with fights. And, yeah, I think I would love to fight the same time for sure.
How many fights did you sign for?
4 fights.
4 fights. All right. Maybe you could be an alternate in that tournament they got going on.
Yeah, for sure. You know, like I said, my goals and my aspirations are to compete with the best in the world, and I think Bellator really, you know, that you look at their roster and it's stacked, man. They got studs for sure. So I'm excited. Does
it feel like your career, like this is a new chapter in your career in terms of like, okay, you go through the regional portion of your career, now you're with the big promotion, and now we see, you know, now you're going to be fighting a different caliber of opponent. Does it feel like a new chapter in that respect?
Yeah, for sure. You know, it's a change, and I don't think I fought for the same promotion twice yet. I think I've gone from one to the next. So, you know, so it is, and it's cool, and it's nice to have some stability and know, like, all right, you know, my next 4 fights are going to be with this promotion and you know, with this caliber of guys and whatnot. And really, it just raises your training and your mindset and all that. So that inspires me and excites me even more to know, like, all right, I know what I'm coming up against now. You know, each time I go out and fight now, it's going to be with one of the best guys in the world, and so it's exciting to me.
Well, congratulations again on the deal. Very happy for you. I'm happy that you found a home now, that Bellator has signed you, that you're going to debut in 2019. And I wish you both. I'm happy that Paige's fight is still on as well. So it's a very exciting time, I'm sure, in the Van Zandt household. And please keep running with that. The Mr. Van Zandt, it's great. Let the people hate you. Let the hate shower all over you. Why not?
I love it, man. Like we said, I got good old Uncle Tail helping me out. So he mentors me and helps me out with all that stuff.
It's perfect. I would look up Ravishing Rick Rude, and if I were you, I would fight with a picture of her on my shorts just to piss everyone off. That's what he used to do. Just do that. Piss everyone off. Why not? It's great.
Yeah, exactly. Hey, they're going to want to watch me either watch me lose or just watch me to fight. So, you know, that's what it's all about.
Congratulations again. And again, thank you so much for coming on the show and announcing the news. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it as well.
All right, there he is, Austin Vanderford, the newest member of the Bellator welterweight roster. Appreciate him coming on the program to announce that news. Congrats to Bellator. Great signing. Thought the UFC should have signed him. I think that now you're going to get a guy who's going to come with Paige, who's going to come with her social media following. She's going to pump up the fight. She's going to be sitting there. Everyone hates him. Everyone wants him. I don't know how you can hate the guy. He's like the nicest guy in the world. But maybe jealous, maybe envious. And now you're interested. Now you care. It's a great personality. I thought he was the kind of guy that PFL should have signed. Wrestler who's going to go through the tournament, advance, but Bellator ends up signing him. Nice addition for them, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he does in that welterweight division, maybe their best division, come 2019. All right, we're out of time. We have gone so long. Everyone's probably really mad at me. So Jake, you can hit the music. Post-fight show coming up. It has been a very memorable day on the program. We have talked about a lot. We have said a lot. We have done a lot. But now it is time to go. Always fun when you have in-studio guests. That always makes the show a little more special, I feel like. But yes, I feel like we have covered a lot of bases here. Kamaru Usman wins on Friday. Where does he stand? I still feel like those comments afterwards were a bit of a negotiation ploy, if you will, that he'll be the next one in line, but not necessarily the next in line, if you get what I'm saying. Colby Tyron, and then he fights the winner. I feel like that makes all the sense in the world. But a great performance out of him on Friday at the tough finale. 2 new Ultimate Fighter winners. Dana White saying afterwards that the show is going to keep going on. We shall see what happens there with that show. I feel like it has run its course. I feel like I've said that ad nauseum at this point. But he seems adamant. So we'll see. Saturday, great night in Adelaide. Did not go well for the locals, especially those last 4 fights. With Jake Matthews and Mark Hunt and Tyson Pedro and Tai Tuivasa, but a great night nonetheless. Bellator 2 shows, KSW, Tyson Fury, Deontay, just so much. Anyhow, thank you very much to Kamaru Usman, Chatri Sityodtong, Brian Ortega, Max Holloway, Gunnar Nelson, Jake Hager, Mauro Ranallo, Chris Weidman, Mark Hunt, Austin Vanderford. Thanks to all of them. Thanks to all of you. We'll do the post show next. Appreciate everyone. If you missed it, iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, all those places and more. Back next week, same time, place, same peace.